Howdy doody, folks. 80 here. Yeah, I'm a couple of minutes early. How is everyone doing in this beautiful world of ours? Hope everyone's doing well. Had a good week. Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick hello to everyone that's joined in. There'll be obviously some more people coming in a bit later. G'day, Anthony. I know you're here. We'll get you up in a minute. Daryl, how are you? White. Nathan, nice to see you in here. Rick's Railroad, nice to see you in here. Excuse me. Ron Mowen, nice to see you too. John too, nice to see you. Steve, 87. And we've got a new guy here. US and CO Railroad. How he's doing? G'day, David. Nice to see you in here as well. I hope the stream is coming through well. Yeah, I hope the stream is coming through well. Trying to multitask here. Yeah, so not much has been happening this week here. Well, I have worked a little bit on the layout, trying to work out the track plan on the top deck there. It's come to a screeching halt because I've run out of turnouts and need to water some more. That will come out through this week and mark everything out. I'll show you guys that in a moment, what I've been doing. Apart from that, there's not much else has been going on this side. I have been busy because I've been trying to work this out, and also between medical appointments. I've got a care package this week.
So he wanted you to dress as sheep, and he played Little Bo Peep. That's sick. Oh, we're on. Sorry. Hi, Artie.
Man, no wonder I can't get over the other side of the Pacific Ocean.
Well, I'm sure there's a few clubs that would let you in. New Zealand might not let you in, but you know.
It's always a joy. It's always a joy, Anthony. I mean, we gotta have some fun. We gotta have a laugh. I mean, the other day I was watching a movie on TV. What was it called? The Intern. Oh man, it cracked me up laughing. It was a classic movie in the beginning, and the rabbit sort of like looked at me with this strange look because he'd never seen me laugh. It's like, what's that coming out of his mouth? What's he doing? What's wrong with him? He's laughing. But we all need a good laugh every now and then. I mean, geez,
I try.
Yeah. G'day, Alma. How are you doing? Obviously, there's been some boxes floating around the world in the United States lately. From a particular gent on the East Coast. I mean, that guy's so generous.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, I got mine.
Oh, hey, your box says fragile. I think that's Transvalian for consignment of very hard drugs.
That's what I got to put on my parcels for here. Because we got these porch thieves. So let's see what colour I got. Shall we have a look? Where is he? He's not here.
You got invisible.
Yeah. You still want to give your sister one? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is slack, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but can you understand that? Rick's here.
Hey, Rick, how are you? Got it, mate. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Now,
Rick,
we're
yours
gonna
is
have a look.
defective. Rick, yours is defective. It's upside down. Somebody at your factory screwed up. It's upside down. I'll have to send it back.
Well, Rick's timed it well, so let's have a look and see what colour mine is. So
Pink.
you got the black one.
Let it be pink.
Steve got the well, not Steve. Ray got a white one.
I believe there were some red ones out there, weren't there, Rick?
Red ones.
I seem to recall he mentioned red at one time. I don't know if they did that.
G'day, SF Rent. Yeah, well, I think I'm the one that got the red one. But I think I got the short end of the deal.
That would be appropriate.
Packing. And no label. Man, do you think that's a cheapskate or what? Oh, hang on. It's kids' Easter eggs that the kids were looking for. And I hate to ask what these are. And they're green. Man, I've been ripped off, and I hopefully... Rick, are these this year's Easter eggs or are they the last year's? Man, that is a rip-off. It's all right. Now I know how his sister feels. Now I see what his sister has to deal with. Yeah. But anyway. Nathan, you want me to turn this into a building? Actually,
it could be a silo.
Actually, challenge accepted, Nathan. I'll turn this into a building. I'll have to come up with an idea. I still got to do. G'day, Possum. How are you? Yeah, I'll come up with something. I'm not going to do it straight away. I've still got to do the challenge, the competition for what's his name? Mini Prince.
Oh, I thought that was a D-Gauge Shriner's hat.
Yeah. I'm going to work on that. So, geez, I've got to pull my finger out because that's got to be put in by next Monday. So, yeah, I better get started on that one too. Because the closing of that competition is the 31st. And it's $100 first prize on that one. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a go. It's going to give me about $50 worth of spending, and the other $50 can go into shipping from Canada. So, yeah, I don't know what I'll turn this into. I mean, it'll make an interesting building. But it's funny, like now in this state here, in Australia, in New South Wales, many states are following suit. Plastic mugs, cups like this are now banned. So we can't buy them anymore. So, okay, I'm going to put my link up in here for anybody that wants to join in the Madhouse and Waghouse. Yeah, so anyway.
Improve the quality of the neighborhood, as we like to say behind the scenes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. it's a crazy neighbourhood here, and that's why people leave us alone. So I'll show you guys what I've done. I have actually, a couple of people have seen the first off pictures that I've actually created of the layout. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That's where I got up to with my layout so far. How are you, Jeff? MRR enthusiast, nice to see you here. G'day, Daryl, how are you?
Hey, how's it guys going, man?
Not
Hey,
too
Daryl.
So this is roughly how the central station area is going, or the main station area is going to look. I'll get up and show you guys. So basically, platform's going to be up over here. Passenger car facility over here. Road's coming in on the other side. I'll have a storage track here. I still got to put another turnout here to have another track. So I have a freight line. Basically, it's going to be a working scene for passenger cars and rail cars on here. The final workout on the track will be when I get the turnouts out. And mark down, put it down on the trace it over a piece of paper. Then on the bottom layer here, underneath it, is where I'm going to work out where I'm going to do the hidden staging area. Let me show the other side of the camera, the other view. So when it got, that's how it looks from the other side. Still got a bit of work to do, but it's work in progress. Now, where I got the raised section of curve there, I'm going to put a 24-inch radius there. Next one down is 22, and then I've got two 20-inch radiuses there. The grade that I've got going up into the station area, up on the raised section, I've had to do it 4%. I had to increase the steepness in it, so I don't use up too much space with that train coming down, up and down the grade. Because I end up having a bit of an issue with my you're all right. Yeah, you don't know. I didn't think you. G'day, Plumber. How are you, buddy? Where did Daryl go? Lee, how are you, buddy? Oh, nice to see you here, bud. It's early in the morning for you. Yeah, I had a bit of an issue. I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys last week, but the tape measure that I use to measure the room, I use my little favourite one. And it was just over a quarter of an inch out to my work tape measure. And the room measured out to be, with the old one or the little one, my favourite one was 13 feet. The work one showed out that my room is 11 foot 2 inches from wall to wall, against the wall here. So you can imagine when I end up doing the cutting, luckily I checked everything about 3-4 times to make sure it was the right fit. Because I didn't want to have the outcome of what happened in the bottom layer. I don't know if you guys can see it. Down the back corner there, that's how short the tape measure was in length. Okay. When I cut that bottom section out. So I got the tape measures out and checked it all out. And I got my work tape measure, and it's the one that was the accurate tape. the accurate size, because when I got the plywood cut up, the measurements were accurate. So thank God I've done that done properly, because the inserts to go inside here is going to fit nicely. Yeah, where did Daryl go? Yeah, I'll put another link up there. So yeah, we're
The basement boogeyman got him.
oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, so it's gonna get there. Hopefully the turnouts will end up here. G'day Thomas, how are you, champion? Nice to have you here. I'm hoping to have all the turnouts by the end of the week and get that done. I just realised with the space that I have next to me where the roundhouse is, I need to finish that roundhouse before I do the next level. Because when I look at the gap that I've got between the bottom layer and the top layer, I'm not going to be able to get in there and work in that spot trying to get the detail and everything right, because my head's going to be in the way. Do I see the Thomas on excursion trains?
No, I just see Thomas on the screen here. He's in the chat room. Split Rock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Thomas excursion train, yes. Where our steam running session is actually officially over now. I think there is only still one more steam train to come down here, which is the 59 class, weather pending.
Yes, I know, Nathan. I was just being facetious.
Towards the tank engine. Yeah, well, we do see it on Fred Aware on the government channel, but they do I can't think of the name of the engine. They actually named the engine. There is the Australian cousin, which is a tank engine, and they dress it up for the Thilmy Steam Festival, which is up in the big museum, and it's yeah, they do one up here, and they do dress it up for Thomas, and one does get dressed up. There was a truck that was done up as a Thomas, a tank engine that goes down the freeway, but I haven't seen it for a while. Does Thomas bring people into the hobby of MRR rating? It does with some. It does spike the interest, which I have noticed here with some kids and some younger generation. But anything helps. Anything helps.
Well, it brings kids into the hobby because it's an exposure to trains. Okay, it's aimed at kids, and it's an exposure to trains. Now, the various Thomas the Tank Engine, especially the classics, were over here in the United States, even with the show Shinytown Station. But you didn't see a big boost in it here. I think maybe, like you said, in Australia and some of the colonies in UK, it does bring some people into the hobby, but it can spark interest. But in the end, the things that bring people into the hobby or chase them away from it are still there. And I don't think Thomas truly affects that. The thing Thomas does, as I said, is it gets kids aware of trains and gets them interested in it. And so you can buy them the toys. My grandson has Thomas the Tank Engine toys, but my grandson plays with them just a little bit. but he comes here and watches my layout in action, and I let him play with some of the buttons. And then he sees grandpa running trains and watching trains on YouTube. And that's where you really get kids in the hobby, at least an interest. But in the end, it's going to be money, space, and time that keeps people in the hobby.
Yeah.
Anybody can show an interest. I've got a lot of students that loved having my little train table in my classroom. But they're like, oh, I wish I could have this in my house, but we don't have room for it. And we could say, well, you can go to N scale and do small and blah, blah. But then it becomes money.
Yeah. There is something that's been happening here in Australian television lately. Like we got more the free to air than paid TV. Yeah, we got paid television here too, but there's one channel here, Channel 7, and they dedicated Sunday nights to everything trains. One particular channel. They've done a series on the Australian trains. They've done series on Hornby, the factory, and the modelers as well. The whole heap of series that they do. At the moment, they're doing there's 2 series at night where they're doing with the tourist. One is a tourist train operation. I think it's up at York in England, and there's another one that goes through many couple of other full-time tourist trains. And it's what I've heard from Joe at Sheila Hobbies. It's actually spiked up interest. His sales has actually gone up. Mm-hmm. Now, where Joe's situated in Sydney, in Liverpool, in Sydney, is right at the bus stop. I mean, you can't get a better location than that, than having your shop with the main bus stop on your doorstep. And he says people have been coming in. He's struggling to keep stock at the moment because people are buying not just the expensive stuff. He actually ranges from cheap, affordable starter sets, second-hand ones, do your fine detail. He's got the whole range there. You don't have to have thousands of dollars to get in the hobby. You can start off cheap.
Right. Yeah. But again, and it's going to be different in different cultures. For example, in Australia, which you know a lot better than anybody here speaking, but I can speak to a degree for Germany, where the large percentage of the public rides trains. Trains are a part of daily, weekly life. It's a part of their lives. There's around them, and that sparks an idea to recreate something at home. And they grow up with generations of it having done it. In America, you have 2 ways, really, that people get into trains. Somebody in the family is connected to the model train world, or or I should say, works in the train industry. Although you get a lot of IT guys, tech guys that love the electrical control system, things like that, like Roy Eltham and that, where they didn't work in the train world, but they love the electronics and digital computer IT aspects of model train layouts. But basically, you either the majority of people, either somebody in the family works in the railway and there's a strong connection, or somebody in the family has model trains and they grew up with model trains and saw the good side to that. Now, in America, that's the only way you're exposed to trains, really, is somebody in the family runs model trains or the family works in the railroad industry. Now, in the UK, which again, like Germany, trains are a large part of daily life or weekly life. For 2 years in a row, I think it was 2018 and 2019 already. I think it's been a couple of years. Maybe it's 2019, 2020. They did a show, and there's nobody here from the UK because Lee checked out. They did a show called The Great Model Train Challenge. Or I think it was called the Great Model Train Challenge or something like that. They did 2 series where it's a competition where people had 24 hours, 3 8-hour days to build trains, to build model trains. A layout. They had to build a layout, and each episode, it was a different theme. There were 3 teams competing, and then a winner was chosen, and then the winners from each episode did a final competition. But they were given a theme that they had to build it on, like, okay, science fiction, and they had to build a layout that was based in science fiction.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, after year 1 of that show, sales of model trains and attendance at model train shows, I think they doubled.
Yeah.
Warley, the famous, welcome back, Daryl. Warley, one of the 2 big model train, I think the year after the first episode or the first series, I think they said attendance at their train show doubled. And all the UK 00 people, they recorded record sales that year. People rediscovered the hobby through that TV show. And they're doing something like that in the Netherlands. And they did a show like that in Denmark. And interestingly enough, the United States didn't do it. Nobody got it. And maybe it's because trains are still seen as such a niche hobby and a grandpa hobby. They figured it wouldn't sell. But I could see, all the stupid challenge reality TV shows they have. Bake a cake, make cookies, sew your own clothes. They had a makeup show. They had a special effects costuming contest show that went 3 years. They have all these bizarre contest shows. Why didn't somebody say, hey, well, model trains was over here? It would have been interesting to see if a show like that would have worked in the United States and would have sparked some. Because
that hasn't shown. I've only seen that on the internet.
Right.
I've not seen that on air here yet.
No, it didn't come down to Australia? Interesting.
No, it hasn't come down to Australia, but if it did come down here, it will go through the roof. It'll go through the roof because there's a huge rivalry, especially on the East Coast, between the Queensland modelers, the New South Wales modelers, and the West Australian modelers. Right? Mind you, there's 3 different grades, but there is a big... When it comes to our October long weekend railway exhibition in Sydney, that's hosted by the Sydney branch of the National Motor Railway Association, the same crowd that Split Rock is affiliated with, but this is the Pacific branch, the Sydney branch. They have an amateur modelling competition where you got scratch building, you got kit bashing, and with rolling stock, structures, all that sort of stuff. And it really got a lot of people into it. But if we can actually have that sort of something on TV, it'll go off.
Yeah, it's curious.
We did have here. I don't know if you've seen it in US. It's called Lego Masters.
Yeah, I think it's here.
Yeah, hey, Artie, I want to say something. Hello, first of all. Hey, I got a haircut today.
Which one?
Didn't notice. Did you lose a pet too?
It was a big ordeal. It really was. That's all. I'm just listening and playing with the dog, and that's why I came out real quick, because I had to deal with the wife and deal with the dog, and I'm still dealing with the dog. So, anyways, hello everybody out there.
Yeah. What's that he's saying?
Yeah, there were a lot of purists, a lot of UK purists, because I was doing this when I was only following German and UK model train channels. This is before I started watching American channels. And there were a lot of rivet counters and big shot YouTubers who were complaining about that show because well, that's not the way. You take your time and you take weeks and months and years to build your layout, and that's not the way you do it. And they're doing stupid themes and blah, blah, blah. But the true effect is it reawakened interest in the hobby, and sales in the UK went through the roof. Attendance at train shows set all-time highs. So the purists could complain about it. And I thought some of the premises in the show were kind of stupid, but it put the model train world on display in a country that was willing to accept it.
But you see, and you say being unrealistic about the time frame in what to build a layout, train set layout, or to build a layout or a train set.
Right.
I remember Robin Taylor, a good friend of mine. I mean, the work that she done on a layout, there was a show coming up, and it's like, there's a show in 3 weeks. Gets invited to go to a train show. She didn't have a layout, and bang, timber work, scenery, track work, everything done within 2 weeks.
But, yes, he did, Dave. Yes, he did.
But then again, she put a lot of full-time work in it. I've done the layout in 2 weeks. Scenery, track, wired up and everything to go. But mind you, I got paid full-time for that 2-week period. But that doesn't mean that you have to do it in that period, but it can be done.
Yeah.
And before my stepdad done the board, I used to always have to lay down my track down on carpet or a polished floorboard. And that was a lot of fun putting together, actually. And I actually enjoyed it. And it taught me geometry. It taught me, before I knew about maths, it taught me how things go together. And it's a hobby where, and it needs to be promoted a bit more in some form or another, because it teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you maths, it teaches you carpentry, it teaches you electrical, it teaches you fine motor skills, observation, and the biggest thing that it teaches people,
patience and temper control,
ones, is to use your imagination. And that's where a lot of people are lacking these days. They're not using their young ones. They're not using their imagination because they're too stuck on these.
Well, there's plenty of old folks stuck on those too. But you don't need, when we were kids and there were 3 channels on TV and it was black and white and it only broadcast till 11:30, you needed to use your imagination. Now, movies and video, everything takes away the need to use your imagination. And that's another factor, is you were just talking about all the things we do, well, you guys do in building a layout. I mean, I think as a world, are we lazier? A lot of people like to say yes, but people today, if you talk to the average person, they feel like they have less free time than we thought we had 20, 30 years ago. Now, how are they spending that little free time? But it's a hobby that is an addictive hobby. So, like me, I'm hoping I'm brainwashing my grandson with it, that he will grow up into it. And that when the time comes and I step off this planet, he'll take this and run with it. Or, because there's going to come a stage, and I hope I'm alive to see it, but he's going to hit a point where sports may become more interesting than girls and bikes and then cars. Fortunately, his dad will help, or grandpa will help him with that whole car interest too. He's already got a good interest in cars. And then, because that's one of the things about this hobby, very few people get into it at 8 and stay with it. There are a few, but I think the majority of people get into it and then hit an age and walk away from it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. You guys tell me. I got into it late in life.
It's very true, Anthony.
Well, I had a bit of a break.
Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, I had a break from it too. I got interest. Yeah, girls took a bit of my interest away. It did cost me a little bit, but I mean, that's another issue. But I got to
I want a refund on my defective cup, Rick.
I just
It's
reached
upside
over
down.
and you can see the smoke
It's
coming off
upside
of it.
down. Everybody else got theirs right. Mine came in upside down. I don't know what the problem is. No instructions were included. Nothing.
I think that one. I think that
no.
one was meant to come to me. I think that one was meant to come to me. He mislabeled the packages.
Yeah, that's possible. That's possible.
I mean, I had a break from actually constructing a layout. I couldn't do it because the work got in my way. But during that period, I didn't get out of the hobby. I still bought trains. That's why my collection is so big. I still bought my trains because I was affiliated with a club, and we used to go out to do train exhibitions. And every time they built a new layout, they had a new theme. So what would I do? I'd go out and buy new trains to go with the theme. I'm going to have to get rid of some of the stuff that I have, but g'day, High Plane Drifter. How are you, buddy? And now, since I've settled down into a permanent place, I started building a layout again. But I didn't stop in the hobby. I still looked around and done some rail fanning, observed how I can do models. I did make some kickbash, some rail cars. And the only way we can.
I like that. I like that.
It's almost perfect. Well, it is actually perfect.
I like that. That is great. And there's that red cup.
Okay.
There's only 3 red cups in existence.
Oh,
there's this
really?
one.
I saw that earlier.
Ladies and gentlemen watching at home, we want to put out now that Daryl is doing coke on his own. We do not condone the use of coke live on YouTube.
Where?
We try to promote a drug-free environment. We don't condone the use of coke, but we also believe in to each his own, right, kids?
Yeah. I was singing about
mine's version 1. What's in there?
It's your leftover Easter eggs.
Oh, the Easter eggs. I was watching earlier and I'm like, I have no idea what that was.
And candies. The ones that you didn't like and your kids don't like, you send them over to me.
See, I still got version 1. I don't have no stickers on the back.
I was gonna put your label on it, but the printer decided to go kerfuffle.
Well, Rick, it would be a problem if you needed a barcode or a QR scan to find your own YouTube channel. Honey, what's our YouTube channel again? Oh, for God's sake, Rick, use your damn coffee cup.
I was thinking about putting. I was thinking about putting a bit of white stuff in that cup, but I thought, no, there's probably going to be some goody two shoes that's going to make a complaint about it. So I thought, no, I better not. Yeah, but people just can't get. People just don't understand our humor.
But in America, I think we do.
And over you, Rick.
I think we do
I'm
have
good,
to
brother. I'm
expose
good. How are
kids
you?
to it more often. I think we've got to find more ways to expose kids. Like I said, in Germany, the UK, Australia, Japan, there is a culture of trains. It's a part of daily life. So they grow up with trains. They see a cool train. I mean, that's what I do now. I watch UK channels. I go, man, that's a really cool livery. That would look cool running around my layout. Oh, wait, I can't. I got to save my money. But, in America, the vast majority of us, the only time we encounter trains is when it's a big freight train making us 5 minutes late for work.
So, Anthony, I saw a documentary, what was it, last night, and I'm sure you're going to pinpoint it. It was on a passenger train that goes from Sweden down into Italy, and it's way up there in the mountains. I'm still trying to think of the name. I couldn't think of it. Maybe you could, but it was really interesting. Um, it just the scenery was just beautiful. It starts way, way, way up there in the mountains, and then they say it makes its way to Italy. So I wasn't too sure if you know the name of that one.
No, not off the hand. There's a couple that are north-south. They're basically like cruise lines, but cruise line ships as opposed to actual planned daily, weekly trains. But they're sort of like cruise trains, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
And it's like you can still ride the Orient Express from what's it called, the Simplon Venice line, where you can go from Paris to Venice. You no longer have the one that goes down to Istanbul, but you book these like you book a cruise line, and you take the trip. And 6-7 years ago, well, I shouldn't say that, 10 years ago or longer ago, I might have said travel by train. But 15 years of traveling by train in Germany, it's the best. It's the best. The what you see, and you can just sit there when you're driving a car. Oh, honey, look at that! Joyce will do that. Honey, look at that! I'm like, what? Whoa, back on the road.
Right, exactly.
But sitting on a train, you can just sit back and just stare at it for hours. So no, I don't know the name of that one, but I do know there are a few cruise trains that go east, west, and north, south, along with the actual daily ones. I know there's one that runs from Denmark to Italy that is basically one train leaves a day and goes through 5 countries. Well, it'd be 4 countries in that case, maybe 5. But that is a specialty cruise one. But I mean, riding trains in Sweden has to be a blast in and of itself.
Yeah, no, it was quite awesome. So maybe I couldn't pronounce the name. Maybe that's what it was. Okay. I don't know what it was, but
you see, like we actually have 2. We did have 3 trains.
Let's look it up here.
The oldest one we got going is in the Pacific that goes from Sydney to Perth, and it goes along the longest, straightest line in the world, which is going across the Nullarbor Plains, which is about close to nearly 250 to 200 miles of just dead straight track. Yeah, it goes up and down, but it's got no curves, and it just goes dead straight. And that goes up towards the middle of the Nullarbor. I haven't been on it by train, but I have been beside it on the road when I was doing track work and that, and rescue and derailed trains. Then we have the Ghan. The Ghan only went as far as that. We started originally from Sydney and went to Alice Springs, but now it starts from Adelaide, which is sort of the midpoint of the country, and goes straight up to Darwin. And that's a different line again.
Okay.
We did have, I can't remember the name. I think it was I can't even think of the name, but it started from Townsville, which is at the top end of the East Coast, which is up near the top of the Great Barrier Reef. And it used to come all the way down to here, up over the mountain, used to follow it all the way down to Melbourne, across to Perth and back again. That's why you always go fishing in a fish market. So if you have a bad day fishing, you drop in a fish market and go, look what I caught. It works all the time.
Hey, George.
Hey, George, how are you, buddy?
Hey, George.
And they were good. They were good runs. And I've seen on that documentary that we have on Sunday night, there are some trains in Spain and up in Southeast Asia, and there are a couple in Europe where the trains will only travel by day. They will not travel by night. You actually you sleep in the train by night, and during the day you go out and enjoy the scenery. And that's become very, very popular. I don't know what's going to happen with the Pacific started up again here, but I don't know if the Ghan and that has. But everything's slowly getting back in order down here.
Okay. Hey, Daryl, by any chance, was the train you're talking about Switzerland to Italy? And not
okay, that was it. Switzerland to Italy.
Okay, because
That's
there is a train that runs from Sweden to Switzerland, and it actually runs 5 days a week. I said it was like once or twice. Yeah. It's 5 days a week, but it's just you go from Stockholm to Malmo, catch a ferry, and then catch a train in Denmark, and then go all the way down. 31 hours, and it starts at 300 euros, which is about 290.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the Glacier Express.
Yeah, there's the Glacier Express, and then there's the the Trento line, and there's at least two others that where that I can think of that. Yeah, it's amazing because I was showing it to my classes one day while they were taking a test. This amazing train ride through the Alps. It goes all the way through the Alps, and it goes back. It goes from Switzerland down into the the southern part of the Italian Alps, and then goes back up, and it is amazingly beautiful.
Yeah, you know what? I love that is one of the places that's on my bucket list of places to go on a train trip.
Why do you put a list on a bucket?
Yeah, I put
my list on like sticky notes or paper.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen the size of my bucket yet, have you?
Oh, here we go, bragging about size again.
Yeah, what I remember was the viaduct. The viaduct was coming off the hill, and it went in a circle, and it was over. The viaduct was going over the bottom track, and it looked like the grade was like really steep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very steep on that viaduct.
Definitely not your 2 or 3% recommended for your models. No, definitely more like a 5 or 6 or 7% grade.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of them are right on that borderline where you don't know the cogs. That's the cog wheel underneath, but yes, I've got one of them too, Whitewall. I've got one of them as well. But I can't announce it on here because I'll get blacklisted. But one thing,
would that blacklist be a list on a black bucket, Artie? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, it is I've got the black bucket list too. Yeah.
Okay.
I've nearly filled that up. I've nearly done everything on that one. But one thing I like about the Glacier Express is when I hear people saying that, "G'day, Mum and Son, how are you? Hope you guys are well."
Hey, Mum and Son.
One thing I like about that, when I hear people say the railways don't do that, you will not see that in real life.
Right.
Like there was someone that commented on, you will never see a train spiral back down on itself. Now that line is a perfect example that it will many times over.
Mm-hmm.
No, Steve, no, this bucket that I've got is not liters or gallons. It's measured by cubic feet or cubic meters. It's a big bucket. Big bucket. Yeah. It's too big for me to carry. Yeah, where is the photo of it too? I'm gonna have to get another photo of it.
Great. Now he's gonna show us photos of his bucket.
Yeah, it's a big bucket.
Will it have the list on it?
Yeah, well, it needs to fit on the back of the truck. A big wide truck. Take the power lines out on the way through. But yeah, that line is a perfect example of what type of engineering they did back in the days, and that started up before World War Gee, that started up back in World War One when they created that line. And it's one of the oldest electrified narrow gauge rail lines in the world.
Well, then there's the rail line and the mountain pass that the Italians were building right after World War One, and it didn't go well. They had a lot of collapses on it. It was basically supposed to be a military train line, and it had a lot of cave-ins and collapses, killed a lot of workers and a lot of military guys. But then again, the Italians also built a dam up there and built it wrong, and it collapsed and wiped out an entire village.
Yeah, well, yeah. They used a long time of sticky tape to do the bad damn war. That's what happened. Mum and son, you're more than you're welcome. We're glad that someone's reaching out to help you out with your problem. Like with everyone here in this group and groups amongst us, we're here to help each other out. Yes, we goof off on my channel and whatnot and some of the other channels, but when it comes to all seriousness, if there is a problem, we'll take off our goofball hats off and wacky goofball hats off, and then we'll get into a serious mode.
I resent that remark.
I'll go back in your tank. Oh, hang on. Your German counterpart ran over your tank, didn't he?
That's the other guy.
Oh, that's the other guy? Oh, okay. But yeah, you're always welcome, and that goes to anyone. If you ever have a problem and you're stuck, all you got to do is chat and say, hey, I have a problem. Can you guys help me out? And there will be someone nearby. Klaus, behave yourself. Yeah, just reach out.
That's Heinrich
Klaus.
to you. Who's Klaus? Klaus is dead. He was hit by a tank.
Yeah. You're his youngest son, aren't you? Or grandson?
No, I'm the oldest surviving veteran from World War One.
World War One.
Yeah,
okay.
A long time ago.
Yeah, was that part A or part B?
There was no part A or part B. There was just World War One. History. Stupid Australian. That was right. You guys were all getting massacred at Gallipoli. That's why you wouldn't know about our part in the war.
Yeah.
We were in the stinking trenches.
We'll get sorted out. If I was closer, Mum, I'd probably come around and give you a helping hand, and we sort the electrical issue out. I mean, even I have issues with electrical problems, and sometimes I've got to reach out to someone and say, hey, can you give me a helping hand? Now we've got track issues. I mean, we have our mate Rick in the bottom corner. He's had... what's that, Rick?
What I do? What I do?
Yeah.
Oh, you asked for a helping hand.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, he was talking about track issues.
Talking about track issues. Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I don't have a layout to have track issues.
Well, see, I was just saying, just telling Mummy, some of us have to go back to the drawing board because we have issues, and you got to bite the bullet and go, well, rip it all to pieces and start all over again, even though it breaks our heart to do it.
Yeah, but some people go back to the drawing board with jumbo Crayola crayons.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm using finger painting at the moment because you're taking all my big jumbo Corolla.
I use chalk.
How soon do your kids get that? How soon do your kids get that? Or is that a Christmas present you just gave away?
Well, I was actually experimenting with something while I had my railroad, but now that's
Can you
that's
show us
years,
can you show us how big your chalk is again?
That's the 64 pack.
Oh, you got a coffee grinder?
That's. I got to figure out how to open this thing.
So you're going to grind this up and use it for painting and weathering.
I was trying. It didn't work out so well, but
Yeah.
Why? By the way, why didn't it work?
that's
Rick?
how they come in the pack.
Why didn't it work?
So it's weird. It's like when you grind it up, it's okay. I took one color. I took a green color and I grounded it up, but it's a true powder. Like when you try and apply it to a building, it comes out more translucent and more white than it does like a regular weathering powder. It does like the pig. It's almost like the pigment is not thick enough where
you lose the pigment when you grind it up.
It flakes. It just flakes away. So it's like, you know, the slightest little, and it's gone off of your piece. But I was thinking this was the darkest green that I had in the box. So I tried this, and what I was thinking of doing with this is just going around like the bottom of the building to try and see if it made like, you know, grass marks, or, you know, somebody mowed the lawn and the grass kind of flew up on the building. But when I put it on there, because it was so chalky and it wasn't a dark color, it didn't work. There are a lot of darker colors in here. You saw the black. There's a lot of browns and a lot of tan tones in here. I'm going to try the same thing. I am going to give the sparkle colors to my daughter because that's really not going to work out on the railroad. But yeah, there's actually, I bought this when I went to the Crayola factory here in PA because of all these dark colors. I thought it would be great for weathering powder, but I don't know if it needs like some sort of additive in it, like either an oil or something to make it stick better and make the pigment actually pop. Because right now it's just not working right out of the box. But thank you for asking.
Well, actually, my one thought is, I wonder if it would help if before you tried to use it, did you by any chance bake it, really dry it out?
I didn't. So maybe that's an option.
There's a part of me that remembers back in the day and that kind of stuff. You sometimes need to bake it and get the moisture out, because I do believe they have a rather high content of water. Now, somebody also said they don't add enough pigment to it, which is why it comes out lighter when you grind it up. But I'm just wondering if it's a moisture content. I don't know, take your same green batch and maybe bake it and see if it suddenly gets better. I don't know.
Yeah, that's an idea.
350 degrees
I was even
for 2
thinking
hours.
about
350 degrees for 2 hours, then turn over and then add your seasoning.
I was even thinking about trying just to see how it would come out, of maybe adding like with the green. I was thinking about maybe adding a little bit of food coloring to see if maybe the liquid in the food coloring would act as a binder.
No. The food coloring would be more like a stain. And
G'day, Lee. How are you, buddy? Lee, how are you? Nice to see you.
Hey, Ian and John.
What did you
Ian
use,
and John and Ken,
Rick, to grind that up? Did you use an old coffee grinder to grind it down?
He uses the side of his face. He doesn't shave for 3 or 4 days.
That's what I'm missing. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Don't tell my wife. She doesn't know I took it out of the cupboard yet.
Your secret's not safe with me.
Thankfully, the chalk is non-toxic. I can still wash that.
That's what they say in the label.
I actually had that. My son left a little coffee grinder here when he moved out a few years ago, and it's been sitting there forever. And I finally said, you know what, I'm going to use this for a couple of things. And then about 2 months ago, he texted me, "Hey, Dad," and you know how that goes. Did I leave my little personal coffee grinder and maker at the house when I moved out? And I was like, well, gee, son, I have no idea. I'm looking around. I'm not seeing it anywhere. He just called today.
You know, a video drops about
he called today and said, "Hey, Dad, did I leave a printer in the basement when I moved out and you had it under your layout table for a long time?" And like earlier this year, Joyce and I decided to get rid of all, there are certain businesses that we'll collect all the old computers, TVs. And we decided to get rid of all that stuff. So no, son, it's gone.
Nah, sorry.
No, you took it with you. Didn't you have a garage sale a couple of years ago?
Nah, he moved into an apartment.
Yeah, but he still would have had a garage sale before.
I don't know where you live. Well, actually, I do know where you live, but no, they get 2 parking spaces outside the apartment building. They don't have a garage.
Well, a yard sale there. A yard
They got
sale.
nothing. They got an apartment.
Oh, I'll have to get there.
In fact, my son just moved to a new apartment earlier this month because his it's a year-long lease, and they said, okay, your lease has expired again. By the way, we're jacking the month up $700. I forget what it was, $750, something like that a month. That's how much we're going to, because basically they were trying to clear all the old tenants out except those who could afford that. And my son makes a good salary down there. He's a biochemical engineer, a fancy way to put it. But he basically makes the products that are then used by companies to make the medicines. And he specifically works in a place that they work on base ingredients for medicines that are treating various rare forms of childhood diseases and cancer. So he's very proud.
His intelligence didn't come from you; it came from his mother, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. When I hear biochemist, I think of things that go bang. Mixing different cocktails together and make things go bang in the night or day or whenever.
Well, I do think that works all together. You have cocktails, you start mixing, and usually you can have a bang in the night.
Well, exactly.
That's what Rita says.
That's what
Rita
Rita
just
said.
straight to the bang, and then you just leave $20 on the counter.
You took the words out of my mouth.
We're
Good night, folks.
I've tried experimenting with those chalk powders myself. Grinding down. I used a coffee grinder, and it was just too, as Anthony was saying, it's just too moist, because when I used a coffee grinder, it used to clog up down on the bottom. It used to just clog up. So maybe if we try it out, I don't know, maybe you can buy other powders, similar color, to add to it and give it just a bit more body into it. But I mean, really, it's at the end of the day just to offset the actual color of a green or a yellow or orange or whatever. Okay, Dave, see you back soon.
So I've got these. I forget. I think it was might have been Nisi that told me about these. These are from Monroe Models. It's their 8-pack of powders, and they come in. Let me get this one here. Hold on. they come in an assortment. Of course, you can't see it very well. There's a white, I go this way, white, black, medium earth, dirty yellow, dark rust, light rust, dark earth, and medium gray. I use these on almost every weathering that I do on a building, and I absolutely love these. And that's when somebody said, "Oh, they're nothing more than chalk," and then that's what turned me on to the Crayola thing.
Well, how much
But I
is
gotta
that a
be
bottle?
honest, the feeling of these, if you get them on your hands or so, the feeling of this is different than the feeling of the chalk. I have to tell you. So whatever they're doing, they've got it right, because when you put this stuff on a building, it is so hard to get it off unless you wash it off. But when you try the chalk, or at least when I did that green one,
It's
that
nice.
stuff you could, and it's gone.
A lot of times when you have a look at some of those powders, I don't know if, yeah, they're like pastels. Yes, Ken, that's right. They're like pastels. Your chalks are basically more like gypsum, like a gypsum product, very chalky. Now, then you get a lot of powders that I've found, and it just actually dawned on me. When they actually make paint itself, it actually comes in a crystal form in pigments, and it's usually in a powder form, and it dissolves with liquid. And if you can actually get those powders, those crystals, they will actually work like the powders that you buy. But the problem is there's not many places anymore which stock those paint pigments. The only place that they use to sell those at is the people that actually make the paints on in-house.
Yeah.
Because now thinking of it, we did used to have one at Untitled up by the station. And I remember them mixing in the powders into the paint, into the liquid, which dissolved and gave you the color. Now, of course, that doesn't happen because, you get these big giant paint factories and manufactured overseas, so it's a lot harder to get. Might be worth having a look at places like what you guys call them? Is it not Hobby Show, Hobby Lobby, or somewhere like that? They might have
Hobby Lobby, yeah.
Yeah, they might end up having that pigmentation.
Pigments?
Yeah.
I could certainly try that. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that name, but yes, I've also heard that makeup powder and foundations and eyeshadows work very well also. Now, I do know that there are oils in that powder, so I'm guessing that's why they stick well to skin, and they'll probably stick well to plastic.
Yeah, they make it a bit of a paste. And by the way, for those having trouble with that, that's simply Western U.S. and Colorado Railroad.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Western U.S. and Colorado. That's good to know.
I'm also good at reading personalized license plates too.
Yeah.
Those I can get. That one was a little far off for me.
But as Pritlock says, with using those pigments, it will be hard to remove when they dry up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why the dry powders are a bit better. Other things do work, but you got to remember they either have an oil in them or they're a paste. Like a lot of women's makeup is basically, it used to be called cake when cake meant more of a pasting as opposed to birthday cake and stuff like that.
Right.
They are a paste.
Yeah.
Because I've seen my wife's purse after those eyeshadows drop out of the bag. When them things break into a powder, it's a mess.
Yep.
And she wonders why I don't go in there looking for her keys.
My mom and my sister felt like that. Joyce doesn't wear makeup, so we don't have those issues.
Rick, what were you doing in your wife's handbag in the first place? That's a nice game.
I told you, looking for keys.
I would not put my hand in a lady's handbag
Keys.
for no price. You never
I've-
know what's going to come out
Listen.
and bite you in one of them bags.
I've put my hands in worse places.
Nothing's worse
Good
than
night,
putting
folks.
a hand in. I don't think there's anything worse than putting your hand in a handbag. Oh. Yeah. That's a no go. So I've got a friend of mine who says, "Oh, just go in my handbag." I go, "Nope. Nope. 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 No, definitely not." So I actually used those when I first started experimenting with those chalks that you're using, Rick. I tried to mix it in with my plaster. I mixed the brown, or even the grey, but more the brown into the white plaster mix, and it came out pink.
Oh,
How much were those? The Monroe bottle. You know, that was an 8-pack. So how much is that per bottle? Do you know offhand or rough math?
if you give me just a second, I believe I remember.
Okay,
where I
Steve,
bought
I'll
them
have
from. I
I'll have
can
a
tell you where
lasagna
they're
for
at
dinner.
now.
Thanks, buddy. You have a good night, Steve, and I hope to see you again soon. I know those powders are pretty expensive over here to get. When I get over there, I've got to take a shopping list and buy a whole heap of stuff and bring it back home with me.
Okay, so where I bought them from was actually Heath's Humanity Junction sponsor. I got them from Iron Planet Hobbies. I'm looking at their website now, and it looks like the majority of the single colors are about. I think it looks like it about $5.72.
Okay. Even the white powder?
Then they do have the 8-pack for just a bottle of powder, yeah. But the 8-pack that I got is actually $38.23.
So yeah.
So it is well worth buying the 8-pack.
Wow, that much powder.
Single bottles.
That much white powder for $5.72 a bottle.
Yeah.
Wow, that would
Yeah.
cost, that much white powder here costs $200-$300.
Only if it's sniffed. That's all I can say. But yeah, just I guess to give Heath a plug, it's actually out of stock now. But if you keep your eye on it, it looks like the last price was $38.23, and if you use the product or the coupon code HUMAN, you get 10% off and free shipping. So yeah, I would suggest just keep an eye on that. They work wonderful.
Okay, Steve. Well, okay, we'll catch up to you. Take care. If you come back, you're more than welcome to. But I don't know if Robert is doing.
We might even let you back in.
Yeah, as long as you bring me lunch, I'll be happy. You're more than welcome to come back. But it's just one of those things that we're discovering and how to make these things ourselves, and I Planet. I think is it Iron Planet, or who's the other one that's over there that sponsors a lot of channels? Quick change door combination. Yeah, okay.
Midwest Model Railroad used to sponsor a lot of channels, but they just started pulling all their coupon codes.
Yeah, there was another company. Now, one of those two will not.
I get paid not to mention companies.
I gotta say, Joe looks after the people. Well, the hobby shop I go to a lot up in Sydney to buy my things. I've got to say, he looks after me pretty well. with track and a few odds and ends. But I tell you, the biggest thing that I'm having trouble with here and trying to find a good price is the tortoise motors. I nearly fell over when I found out the average price of tortoise motors in Sydney. They start from $45 to $57 each.
Well, you guys have hold on, what is the name of it? You guys have one that came out of Australia. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Are you thinking Yankee Dabbler? Somebody just typed in
Yankee Dabbler, that's it. Yankee Dabbler.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
he won't ship to Australia.
That's from
That's
John.
cool.
John just mentioned Yankee Dabbler.
Yeah,
John Mystic Railroad.
yeah. Yeah, he won't ship to Australia. I don't know if he shipped to Canada either. It just, I don't know what it is, whether it's too much of a headache doing the paperwork. It's a bigger headache for me to do the paperwork to ship over to the US than it is from US to here. Because now what we've got to do is with every item that we ship out from Australia to the US, or anything that we ship out of Australia, we have to put the person's contact number on there, on the customs label. And yeah. Gee, that sounds very noisy. It sounds like he's driven away by a car. Anyway, yeah, but I'm paying nearly $57 for the tortoise
I can't
motors.
find the thing, but I believe it's DCC Concepts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Aren't they Australian?
I thought
Yeah.
DTC Concepts was UK, but
No, there's a partnership between a guy in the UK and Australia. One of the guys that does it in Australia, yes, I do know him, but I'm not going to say anything else on here. It does come. Some of the items are good, but they're so expensive still. They're so expensive. I'm better off buying from the US and pay for the shipping and exchange rate for stuff like tortoise motors. I can get 8-pack for $200 from Train World.
Oh wow!
8-pack for $200, and then doing the exchange is $250, $260.
right.
For $300, I've got 8. That's what 2, 4. That's only. I'll be lucky to be able to get 6 tortoise motors or 5 tortoise motors. Hey, Joyce, how are you?
Hey,
Not
Joyce.
speaking English. It's just so expensive. The DCC concept, he has got some good ideas, but the main dealer of his stuff, which is up the mountain, is only 45 minutes drive from me. He charges his stuff like a wounded bull. And there's other things going on there too, which I do not want to talk about here.
Again, yeah, when you're dealing with stuff that has to be shipped over because it's not manufactured regionally, locally, yeah. I mean, for me, it's cheaper to buy my stuff direct from Germany than to buy it from an American importer. It's much cheaper, and I get it faster.
Yeah.
For example, American might release a locomotive from the factory and say, okay, we're shipping it out Monday. It's at my shop Wednesday. I get a notification Thursday, and it's on my doorstep by the following Tuesday or Wednesday. Whereas I would have to wait for at least 5-6 weeks for it to arrive at the American shops, and then a week to 2 weeks for them to ship it after that. So I get my stuff close to 2 months ahead of time. I've got my stuff and I'm doing videos and running it where Americans are like, I ordered mine from Renaud's, or I ordered mine from Model Euro model trains or these other American shops, and I still haven't gotten mine yet. I said, well, I buy direct from Germany and get it shipped straight over. And it's cheaper because the markup rate in America, and I don't blame them. It's not a criticism. I understand it. But if I had a local shop, I would support my local shop. But since I don't have one, I will buy online because I can save upwards of, for a basic locomotive, about $100 buying it direct from Germany. And that includes the shipping.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
I
I'll
get
go buy my.
cheaper, and I'm not rich enough that saving $100 is like, nah, I don't need to.
You see, with my turnouts that I'm buying for this, going up to Joe's up at Casilla Hobbies, which I have done a video on the shop. I'm paying. Okay, they've gone up a little bit. They've gone up about $4 in price per turnout. So I'm paying about $34 a turnout, which that's Australian dollars. So when I convert over to US dollars, it's roughly about $28 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go and support him on that. He doesn't have any tortoise motors at the moment, but where he gets his tortoise motors from here in Australia, the guy that brings them in, they just mark up the prices up too much. I know we got the import taxes and all that, but I mean, Christ, I mean, doubling the price of what they're actually worth, it's just a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
He done when the Broadway Limited came out with the AC6000s, the first batch. The first batch I bought, I paid $240 Australian. And I went up to his shop. This guy mainly dealt with European trains, the same engine, different number, of course. $700, and that's with the QSI check. $700. Someone's sleeping barefoot. And look, a lot of you guys hear about me joking around about the. Hey, Emil, how are you?
Wow, Mark, you're up late or up early.
Yeah. Like you hear me about joking with Anthony about the railjet, like the railjet that he has. Now I do want to get the Roco model. I was going to do a prank on him while he was in the UK, but it didn't work out thanks to some madness that went on around here. Now, the guy that deals with the European trains here, just the engine itself for the railjet, $900. $900 Australian.
That's about what my entire railjet cost.
I looked at it from the UK.
Right, working late nights now.
Yeah. Oh, tea break. Okay. That's the same as our coffee break here, or smoker. But I found them over in the UK. Convert them over to Australian dollars for about $280 for an engine. I mean, how can he justify that much of a markup?
Mm.
You know? That's why I don't have any European trains. I'd love to have some European trains, but they're just way too expensive. By the person that's got the rights to import them into the country. That's got the dealership. I mean, that railjet that I had, I actually was paying a lot, but I forgot all about it, apart going through hell, financial hell. That whole set was going to cost me about $2,700 for the full set.
That's 3 times the price.
Yeah, but that one was the one with the opening doors. The cars actually had opening doors on it, so it actually had decent seat chicks in the in their carriages as well. So when a train stops at the station, the doors, you can actually have the doors on the carriages open.
Okay, I'm going to answer John's question here. John, a buckeye is a type of tree, and it's the nut of the tree is called a buckeye, and the seed, but it's the hardest nut of any tree out there, beyond acorn, walnut, whatever, and it's also poisonous if you break it open and eat it. But that's what a buckeye is. And then there's a candy, which is the buckeye is a dark brown with a light brown spot on the top. And then there is a candy that is named after it, which is peanut butter in the center with chocolate around it, which is also called a buckeye. So buckeye is a tough nut to crack. And it's the nickname. It's the nickname of the University of Ohio State football team. Actually, Ohio State University, the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
And you do say "the" because a lot of people don't catch this if they don't know. Whenever there's a sports game on, and like in the NFL, and they always tell the players usually tell what college they went to, and all the Ohio State players go "the Ohio State University," and everybody started mocking them for that. And then they started imitating, like, I'm from the University of Miami or stuff like that. But it started with Ohio State. But the reason Ohio State players do that is anybody from Ohio State says that because there's two universities called Ohio. There's Ohio State University, but also there's Ohio University, which is also a state university. And the two schools sued each other over the use of name. And so the one that's Ohio State University won the name that it can call itself. It is the Ohio State University, and the other one is just Ohio University. So that's why it's always the Ohio State University. It's not an ego thing right there, but that is the technical legal name for it because of the lawsuit. There, nobody cared about that except for maybe one person, but there it is.
Yeah, so here's an average cost, like from the rivet, the scale train's rivet counters model. $485 US. But then again, when we look at that price, it's still a lot cheaper than some of the Australian models that's on the market and that's ready to go. John Mystic, don't be sorry for keeping him going through his refresher course. You know, you still got to teach some of us some bad habits.
I'm off the clock. That is a phrase I've used for the 36 years I was an educator. Is people would use bad grammar, something, look at me and go, "I'm sorry," or something like that. So I'm off the clock. I'm not grading.
Okay. Lee US, he's actually made a comment here, and I'll just give you a price on one engines that I'm getting, and this is a pre-order sale price on 44 class. Now with DCC ready to go, and this is the pre-order price, is $435 at the moment. Now add another $50. Says you add an extra $50 on top. $335 for a non-DCC loco. DCC ready.
Non-DCC. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's these ones here. That's the new ones.
Now, see, with DCC, you know, with a decoder and everything. See, like my company, Merklin, nowadays they do not make any locomotives that do not come with a decoder. You cannot buy a non-DCC Merklin locomotive. Everything is, all their locomotives and power cars are automatically DCC. There's older stuff you can buy that doesn't have the chip in it, but now anything Merklin is automatically DCC. Roco, I think everything is automatically comes with a decoder. Pico still makes some El Cheapo stuff that has either a like super low end decoder, but they're all DCC ready. But yeah, I mean, I can get American Locomotive from anywhere from $200, depending on what all I want in it, up to some of their really fancy steam locomotives in HO can go $700-800. But again, it's automatic. Even the $200 one is full digital. So yeah, that's.
But the way they get their systems run up these days, they'll run both in DC and DCC mode. But what these guys have done, what a lot of these modelers have done, they'll do X amount with the DCC decoder already in it, but to make them a little bit more affordable, they make them DCC ready without the chip in it. And the other thing is, there's a lot more people out here that are actually doing DC train running more than DCC because, as you see there, the average price of just a lockdown decoder is $180. For a Soundtracks decoder, you are looking over $200, $220 each. And when you have a lot of engines, that quickly adds up. I don't think so. I don't think so, because I still notice that even in the American models, there are still options of buying them with the factory fitted DCC chip in them and ones without. And usually ones without the chips in them is usually for those people that want to put their own type of decoder in there.
Well, let's ask these two guys here, Daryl and Rick. You guys are Americans, but what do you notice? What percentage would you say, based on the people you talk to and communicate, what is the percentage between DC and DCC people? As if my attitude is always, it seems to be about a 50-50 split, but do you see? But like in Germany, the vast majority of modelers now are some level of digital, because even the American digital stuff will work in non-digital operation. Most of the functions won't work, obviously, but they work on both digital and analog.
I only know 3 people who have layouts that are DC, and everyone else that I know of is either buys their stuff with DC in it, or those that are brave enough to try it will buy a DC locomotive with the intention of putting their own decoder in it, or even buying a DCC locomotive and swapping out whatever decoder they would want to put in it. But yeah, I can honestly say I only know 3 people off the top of my head that are absolutely
Ray Boble, and who are the other 2?
Ray Boble, Rodney, Hot Rod Rodney 25,
Hot Rod Rodney.
And is it SMT Trains?
Yeah.
The young kid. Yeah, they're the only 3 that I know that are strictly DC.
Yeah, and here for me, I know of only one actual layout. Yeah, I know one actually layout here is they're all DC. Everybody else runs DCC.
Okay, because looking at the UK market speak, I think most of the UK is DC as opposed to DCC. There is a strong movement in the UK resisting going digital. So most of the 00 stuff in the UK seems to be DC or DCC ready, but works in DC mode.
Yeah. But see, this is what we pay. This is what we were paying for the average power cab. It's $370 to $400, and this is coming from someone else. So I'm not making these prices up. To replace the 10 amp system, it's over $1,400. Now I don't know what system you're using there. I'll just say I don't know his actual name. Are you using the NCE system or not? There's 4. High plane is strictly DC.
Now I know 4.
Hey, Richard. And Richard's still new in
Hey, there's
my
Richard.
neighbour here. Richard DeMag, his layout is DC, but they're still converting over or setting up for DCC. But most of their stuff is DC.
Now I've got a friend, Tom. Tom's Miracle Trains and Vintage Layout. He has just a big table of layout with trains, but he is a real interesting mix because he has analog Miracle from the old days, he has digital Miracle, and then he has DC, and he runs them all on the layout, but basically he has dedicated loops for each one, so he can run all three: 2-rail DC analog trains, old analog 3-rail, and then he's got digital 3-rail Miracle. So, and I know a few guys in the UK that have a couple of DC lines and then DCC lines, so they can run both. So it's interesting to me to find out that most Americans have gone up, because like I said, my view was clearly wrong, where I thought it seemed like it was 50-50 America, because I seem to watch a lot of channels where they talk about DC, but maybe I just watch Ray a lot.
Actually, that one thing that came to my mind when I was watching the shots of when they were over Ray's place last weekend, and particularly now that I'm still constructing my layout and doing the wiring, I'm thinking to myself, to the amount of stuff I still have to convert over to DCC is going to cost me a fortune. I'm going to need to set up my layout so I can actually operate with DC as well, which means I'm going to have to put in a lot more isolating switches or toggle switches to turn it on and off. So I'm set up to do both DC and DCC, as in people that know the old school. I mean, you stop a train, it's true. Yeah.
Now, Anthony, are you DC?
Some days, no. I am digital.
No, DC.
You are digital.
I am ultra modern digital with my layout system, except I don't do like Thomas, if Split Rock's still here, or a lot of you guys with the JMRI stuff. My track is all basic. Right. I just power it and run my trains in circles, but all my trains are digital and have 20 to 40 functions each, sound and light and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Anthony, when you say digital, does that mean DCC, or is Miracle is a digital all on its own?
Okay, here is a problem in the model train community, and I could start a fight with this. A lot of people use the term DCC, which means digital command control, and then they use DC as the opposite of that.
Right.
But you can be DC powered because I talk about, in my world, DC is how the current flows through your track, and I'm AC. Most you guys are all DC. But we use DC nowadays when we mean analog. So in my world, DC is a powering system to the track, and AC is what I do, 3-rail. So 2-rail versus 3-rail. And DC people use, which was actually the powering system. So Miracle is digital DCC, but DCC originally was I want to make this, I'm so used to explaining this to like 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds, so I don't get complicated. And the rivet counters wait, that's not quite right, but in simple terms it is. DCC was a programming language. It's like Windows versus Apple. So it's all computer, but Miracle has its own decoder language, its own programming language, which is now they call it MFX, but on a lot of controllers, it's just, you'll see it MM, which stood for Märklin Motorola, because Märklin, along with the Motorola company, designed it. So, but the thing is, I have 4 trains that are DCC, but they're DCC designed to run on 3-rail tracks. So they're still DCC, they're still digital, but most of my trains are MM. So it's just a programming language, and my controller reads them all.
Nice.
But that's where it gets confusing, because when I hear DC, I think 2-rail versus AC 3-rail, but most people mean DC when they really should be saying analog versus digital, and they use DCC to mean digital. But my MFX, Märklin, because that's the new programming language, it's called MFX, which is just MM on steroids. Actually, now it's called MFX Plus, because everything has to have a plus anymore. Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, MFX Plus. And so, yeah, so in the end, DCC was really just the decoder programming language, for lack of a better term. But there, that's enough of that. I've over-explained.
Yeah. But now it's getting to a point where, the systems are getting that advanced now, and there's a lot of people, manufacturers, like NC is one manufacturer, and well, I know with NC and some of the other manufacturers are actually getting to a point where they can actually, the programs are actually knows how to translate that digital language and digital coding. And yeah, John Mystic. You used to get brownie points with the teachers at my school when you used to tell them when the surf's up.
All right, if you don't mind, I'm going to toot my own horn for a moment. I don't know if you guys saw it, but earlier today, DJ Trains put out a short little video. He was actually nominated to receive one of the mugs, and I sent it to him, and he put out a little video saying thank you and gave me a little shout out. As of 8 o'clock this morning, my sub count was at 544. As of 2 moments ago, I just hit 600.
Yay!
Wow.
So that's over 60 subs in a day. You can't say it.
That's good for you, Rick.
That is amazing, awesome. That's not going to focus, but
Yeah, it's not focusing.
Thank you, DJ, and I will send him an email saying so.
Well, you're bound to get a few hits when you go out to the mall and just keep dropping little papers that have your YouTube QR code on it.
Yep.
So true. So true.
I just figured something out. That's fucking. Sorry, pardon the French. That is bloody sneaky.
That was not my intention.
That is bloody sneaky. Is there still something going on between you and Ray?
And it's funny. Ray, I knew nothing about it. Ray knew nothing about it. Like I said before this morning, I had gotten out of all the cups that went out, and I think there were about 30 cups that went out. I didn't get that many subs that that stuck around. But then DJ put his thing out this morning, and it just went wild, and that's absolutely amazing. But then again, DJ's got over 30,000 subscribers, so it was amazing of him to do that. So I appreciate it much, and let's just hope it sticks.
That's absolutely awesome.
I think you are sneakily trying to beat Ray to 1,000.
I was not. I
think it's sneakily you're trying to beat Ray to 1,000.
Well,
I was.
Sometimes
I'll tell you what.
The right shout out at the right time helps. I was at Christmas last year. At this time, I was at 950, and had stagnated for a while. And then my friend Alan Wiles just gave me a big shout out on his channel and told everybody for a Christmas present, get me over 1,000. And over that weekend, I probably gained 120 subs. I went from 950 to like 1,100 within 3 weeks. And, I'm somewhere around 1,200 now because I don't tend to have big spikes. Every now and then I'll have a little increase and then a little drop, and I gain maybe 1 or 2 a month because I'm such a niche channel.
It's definitely
anyhow. I'm such a niche channel anyhow that I have 1,200 subs. I find just means there's 1,200 people out there dropping acid and not knowing what they're hitting on YouTube.
I'm mine.
Oh God, please don't give him ideas. We already saw those skinny legs tonight.
John Mystic, as I have already said, come up with the money. Come up with the money and we'll talk about it. Come up with the money and we'll talk about it.
I keep joking all the time, telling Joyce if she had come down here in a French maid outfit or Wonder Woman outfit now and then, I'd get my subs doubled or tripled easy. She won't do it, damn her selfish ass. Sure. Like, honey, we'd get more money monetized.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right, Anthony. You're absolutely right.
I mean, what's the lady in the UK now? Her name's
Jay
Laura
Loco.
or something like that. I think you're subscribed to her.
Yeah, Jay Loco.
Pretty young blonde lady, always showing off her locomotives. 10,000 people out there. They're not there to look at her engines.
Nope. She's almost at 2,000 subs, and she started about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then there's
I tell Nisi all the time. I said, listen, you have an advantage. There are not a lot of women in this hobby. If you just start putting out content, people will come. And there's, I don't mean to sound sexist by it, but that's just the way the world is.
That's the way the world is.
And men are dogs. And men are dogs.
That too.
Run into that channel.
Yeah. And that's it. And sometimes you just got to take advantage of those moments. And
actually, I haven't seen too much of her lately.
I haven't either. She's what
have you done to her?
I don't know, guys. The last I heard from her was when the hurricane was coming through, and I checked in to make sure that she was all right and everything. But I've been busy taking this thing down and spending time with the family. We haven't done any modeling lately, so it's been a little bit. I should check in.
I toyed with going on to Twitch a long time ago, and I just decided to stick to my 2 social medias. I'm old school. I'm Facebook and YouTube. My son has encouraged me to go to Twitch, but this sounds judgmental and I don't want it to be, but there are live streams and channels I watch, specifically live streams. And sometimes they've got Discord going, Twitch going, Facebook going, and people are commenting and they're talking to somebody from one of the other social media platforms. And I'm like, wait, who said what? What are they referring? I like to keep it on. That's just me. It's not a criticism of them, but because they keep all up. But as a viewer, I get kind of selfish, like, hey, who said that? Who asked that question? Or what did they say that you're, and but I don't know. I'm happy, and I'm the dog that refuses to learn new tricks.
So here's the problem with Twitch. I went through a similar phase where I was going to make the switch and I didn't. The only problem that I have for Twitch is there's no algorithm that's pushing your channel anywhere. Your advertising for Twitch is all done by you. You have to get out there and you have to tell people that you have a channel on Twitch and this is your handle and this is how you find them. Because there is no search option in Twitch. There's no algorithm in the background saying, hey, here's these suggested channels. You watch this, you should like this too. There is none of that. All of your advertising and your gaining of followers is all done by you. So unless you're actively doing it and you're actively out there and you're telling people, come to my channel, check out what I do, watch me on Twitch, or a lot of that comes from you'll find a lot of people that are on Twitch also have a YouTube channel so that they can use the YouTube platform to draw you to Twitch.
Right.
That's the only issue that I have.
Also Instagram.
Yes.
I've had friends and family tell me you got to get on Instagram if you want to promote your channel, you got to get on Instagram. You get more followers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really advertise my channel. I'm here to do my thing.
I mean, you have a look in this last 3 weeks since I was up at Goulburn. I got nearly 40, 50 subscribers in that short period of time.
Yeah. Well, that's a topic that's a topic that gets brought up now and then. You see a lot of channels where guys will talk about losing their mojo, but I think there was an explosion during the Showstopper of everybody getting on YouTube. Okay, I think we all know that. But the funny thing is, both a little bit in the USA, a lot of my German channels, and quite a few of the UK channels I started following, a lot of them talk, they got on YouTube, they had a steady following, they hit 1,500, 2,300 subs, and it was all good. And then all of a sudden they went 4, 5, 6, 7,000 subs. They grew fast and big. And then everything was about got to get content. And I'm sorry, I haven't put out a video, but I didn't have enough that I felt worthy of putting out a video. And everything about their channel became pleasing the audience. And they burned out. And they all talked about they lost their mojo and they burned out because you lose what it's about. And there are some people that go on with the idea, I'm going to grow my channel and see how big I can get. And that's fine if you know what you're getting into. But all of a sudden you start going, wow, you start paying attention to the YouTube algorithms. You start paying attention to this and that, and the other thing. And then you start paying attention, what does the audience want? And I've seen some nice guys that they got on YouTube and suddenly grew big. But then the people in their live streams and on their comments on their videos start saying, oh, you should do this. And they're doing that. And they start following everybody else's advice. And then they're like, oh, wait, I had one guy that went through 5 different gauges in a 6-month period. Just because people say, oh, try this gauge. All of a sudden, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try this gauge now. And the whole thing is they wanted to build this American N scale beautiful thing, and they're an amazing scratch builder, but all of a sudden, they'll go double O. Oh, all of a sudden now they're building a garden one. All of a sudden they're doing that. And then they're like, I'm tired of trying to please my audience and I'm leaving YouTube. If you understand, if you go in with that business mindset that this is what you're going to do and that's how you're going to grow it, that's a little better than when you start off with, I'm just going to have a channel to meet people. And oh, wait, I've got more and more people and I can start advertising and I can start growing and doing this. And then you start becoming, if you go into customer service with the idea of customer service, you're going to be fine. But if you go in with just, hey, I'm here to start a channel, and then all of a sudden you decide you're becoming a big star and now you feel you've got to maintain a high level of this and that, you will burn yourself out. And my attitude is I don't do anything on my channel to cater to anybody but me. And I do my live feeds to run my trains. I don't do anything else. I do my stupid parody songs. That's what I do. And I get some people going, why do you put this stuff up? Why don't you work on your layout? Because I haven't work on my layout in a year.
You do what you enjoy doing. Like I'm enjoying showing people what I'm doing. I didn't expect to have or get this many amount of followers in 12 months. I thought I'd only be at probably at 100, 150. Because the people taking interest in what I'm doing. But I never thought I was going to get up to this number. I know I'll probably end up getting more over time, but I'm here to show my enjoyment. I'm not there to show and impress people or try to bring up what people want to see. People that come to my channel come to see what I do. If they like what they see, they can keep coming back. If they don't like it, they don't have to come back. You know?
Yeah. I will not advertise. Yeah, I will not advertise my channel, promote anything, or do anything. I do not advertise my channel. I do not promote. I just enjoy a great cup of coffee in this amazing white mug and just call it good, you know.
But I mean, that's it. But when you look at it, all jokes aside, your mug, Rick's mug. Hang on, let me get you off.
Rick's mug, yeah, the faulty one.
Yeah, Rick's mug.
Oh, you got it right side up.
Oops. I better be careful doing that. I've got some of my own, which I've got to get out and about as well. To me, it's a souvenir. It's not there. Okay, you call it advertising, but for me, it's a souvenir. This mug here is going to be put away somewhere where no bitch is going to be able to use it when all the mugs are dirty. And I'm not talking about me. I've got some other person comes in here.
Well, I wanted to use this to hold spare screws and nuts, but it doesn't work.
You got to stand on your head.
Oh,
Anthony, that's how it works.
Are you saying this is an Australian mug?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
It mixed the packages up. I've got YouTube and Facebook. I went off Facebook because the way I seen it, one, whatever they're doing is eating up the bandwidth, slowing up the computers, the handsets, everything else, and but the biggest thing was it eats up the data. And then you got so many negative people and so many bullies on there. On Facebook now. It put me off it. I went away. But since I've been here on YouTube, you get into those group of people and you stay and have a look. Look at us here now. There's, like, it's died down to 15, but we were at 20 odd. But we're a regular bunch. We take interest in each other and what we do, regardless of your hobby skill and your ability and what you can do and can't do. I mean, everyone promotes. We all promote each other here. We're not promoting so much ourselves, but we're promoting and giving everybody a boost. You know, we do a fucking morale.
Well, that's what my live streams are about. Bringing people up, letting them talk about their layouts, promoting them. That's what that's what you're actually doing right now, Artie. You're doing the same thing. You're bringing people up and you're on a live stream and you're promoting their channels.
Well, I am. I mean,
whether you see it that way or not, that is the truth. You know, it's the same thing when you're bringing up people's comments and answering them. It's very important because the people in your chat get a chance to be on your live stream by you bringing their name up like that, like White Wall Will's, George. When somebody goes back and watches your live stream, they might go, hey, that's a pretty cool icon, or that's a pretty cool logo. It could be any one of any reasons. And they're going to click onto that. And that is the truth,
But people will click and stay on a channel or follow particular people if they like their attitude, the way they present themselves, the way they speak, the way we speak. We don't please everybody the way we talk.
Yeah, actually, I did Reddit. I tried Reddit. And the problem with Reddit is is I still got some stuff up on there. The problem with Reddit is I almost felt like it was a really small knit railroad community, and it just seemed like nobody was commenting on my stuff, but I was commenting on their stuff. And because I was the new guy on the block, I just didn't get nothing from Reddit. So finally I just left Reddit, and I still got a lot of stuff up there, but Reddit made it easy to transfer your videos from Reddit or whatever you put on there to YouTube, vice versa.
Americlan.net forum.
So, you know.
I haven't used TikTok, Thomas, so I don't. I mean, I did try Twitter, but then again, I'm thinking, okay, I've got YouTube, I've got Facebook, then you got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got all these other things. I'm like, I got out of being a first responder, having a break because I wanted to get off and waiting for myself. I wanted to get away from these things. I wanted to get off a mobile phone. I wanted to get off the computer screen. But when you got this ringing and binging 24/7, particularly 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, when you're trying to get some sleep, you get sick of it. You do get sick of it. It's like you need some time for yourself. And since I stopped doing it now, it's what, in the 4th year now that I haven't done it. I'm slowly coming back to myself, and I tell you what, it wrecks you having that phone off constantly 24/7. And I don't know how a lot of these people can do Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all this sort of stuff. No. So you'll find me in here. I might respond to you on Facebook, but the biggest part that I got for Facebook is the use of Messenger, where I keep in contact. Like Anthony and I, we communicate all the time through Messenger. It's all right. I've got your home number too.
Sean.
Now, see, this is one channel we don't promote.
Then Ricard, here's my European counterpart. You're in the middle. You're the meat in the sandwich. He's above you. I'm below you. You're the meat in the sandwich.
Good night, folks. That was about as ugly a picture as you could have painted.
Yeah. And what I'm referring to there is, like, of course, being with the European background, going back to the Europe, Germany's in the middle. Jean Ricard comes up the top of the countries. And this is when you're looking at the map. And where my family comes from is down below. So we can actually squeeze this guy.
See, it's like what you're really saying is like there's Oreos out there where you got the delicious 2 cookies on the end and the amazing cream in the middle, except in my case, this is a Hydrox where the delicious cream is still in the middle, but you have those really nasty imitations on the outside. Thank you for understanding that comment, Rick.
Oh boy.
Although, true story, Hydrox is actually older than Oreo. Hydrox came out first.
Let's put it this way. Denmark are known for Vikings. Now, the Vikings did spend a lot of time down in the Hungarian territory.
Oh, they went all the way down to Constantinople.
Right. But the Hungarians were allies with the Vikings. The Germans were stuck in the middle. So you can imagine you can imagine this. You've got a finger at the top and a finger on the bottom, and you're the little pimple in the middle. We just keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing until you go pop.
You got to relearn your history.
Turn that way, buddy.
You got to relearn your history. First of all, the Vikings are Germans, and
yes, Rick.
But they raided everybody.
Oh no, I was just saying hi to Sean.
Yeah, I saw the series, Anthony.
What
Vikings.
Series? Oh yeah, well that's actually that was just based on a book that there was also a 1955 movie with Kurt Russell and Tony Curtis called Viking, and that's actually a prequel to that movie. That series Vikings was. I never watched it. I read the book, so I didn't watch the TV series.
I like it.
See, the Vikings the Vikings have the reputation as being raiders, of course, because that's the way the media around them portrayed them. But the Vikings were first and foremost, they were traders. They took their stuff and sailed all the rivers because they were master boatsmen, and they colonized areas in Russia and all the way down the Danube and Volga rivers, all the way down to it was Byzantium. Down there, in fact, the what was it, the Van Lorian Guard or whatever of the Byzantine empires were Vikings. His personal retinue of top soldiers were Vikings, but they raided everybody. But that was business. You got anything to trade? No, we don't want to trade with you. Okay, we'll invade instead.
Yeah.
But
Rick, what was that boat builder's name in Vikings? Loki?
The what?
Loki. He was well, it depends. If you look in the Marvel world, he was a Norse god.
Yeah, Loki is see, in Norse mythology there's two groups of gods. There's Vazir and Einir. There's two groups of gods, and they went to war at one time, and then they decided that the war wasn't accomplishing anything, so they joined together, and all the Vanir married all the Aesir. But Loki is an elemental. The Marvel storylines and some of the movie storylines where he's like a frost giant baby, that's not true. He's an elemental god. An elemental god is a god that just rises out of the elements. No real known mother or father. But Loki is a trickster, and in the Norse myths, and the Norse myths and the Germanic myths are basically same with slightly different names, like Thor in Norwegian, Swedish, Viking mythology is called Thor in German. Odin is called Woden or Wotan in Germany. But anyhow, the Loki is a trickster, and to be honest, the way he's portrayed in Marvel Comics is very similar to how he is in the mythology, even though the storyline's not the same. He's a trickster that he just starts off with just doing simple little tricks to prove he's smarter than everybody. He likes to get people in trouble so he can get them out of trouble. But like an addict, his tricks and his stunts he pulls get meaner and meaner until the gods finally get sick of him and they chase him off, and he vows revenge. And also Loki can change gender at any time and change whatever. Loki is the father of Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse of Odin. Or the mother of Sleipnir. He's the mother of Hel, the goddess of the underworld. He is the birth mother of Fenrir or Fenris, the giant wolf that will eat Odin at Ragnarok, and so on. But sorry, guys, you didn't sign up for a Norse mythology lesson, but there it is.
That's okay, Anthony. Next week, I'll make sure I bring an apple for you.
I get when people mention something goes, but yeah.
You know what, Anthony? I actually enjoy listening to you talk. I mean, I'm learning a lot. Don't know what I'll remember tomorrow, but That's
the problem.
you know.
We'll do a refresher next month.
Mystic said it right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, Rick.
I've already done that. Been there, done that. But
really,
the Vikings.
You're definitely not the guy that's
I worked at our art museum
Walmart front door. I can tell you.
I worked at we've actually got a really nice art museum here in Toledo, but I would take my inner city kids to the art museum, and rather than don't touch this, if they had questions or comments, even rude comments, say, I see what you're talking about, and explain, well, this is how we did that. This is why they did that. Like explaining French Impressionism to a bunch of kids, or explaining that you know, when you see paintings from the Middle Ages, that's not what the people really look like, because the people back then had pimples and zits and pox everywhere, but the artist didn't get paid until after he presented the picture. So if he painted the ugly Contessa the way she actually looked, she'd be like, oh my God, that's horrible. But if he made her look beautiful, here's your money. I'll recommend you to my friends. And the kids dig those stories. They love hearing that.
And that's why they're
hearing what rebels some of these people were.
And it's amazing how much the stories get changed and modified, and you get two different versions all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, you hear about a lot in.
Can you imagine what Artie would look like if he was painted in the 15th century?
Well, there is pictures of what I was like back then.
But anyhow,
a lot more beefier and a lot more big was down the hair, and
I got sidetracked, and it's not even Sidetrack Sunday. Well, it is for you. But talking about the Vikings, for example, does anybody know how to say goodbye in Russian?
Das Vidanya.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, everybody who might have ever learned or got taught, Das Vidanya means goodbye in Russian. But do you know what it actually means?
No.
Da Svidan. Do you hear a certain country's name in there? Da Svidanya. The way of saying goodbye in Russian, which translates as see you later, actually means be like a Swede, which is what they called the Vikings. Be like a Swede. In other words, leave but come back. Don't be gone too long. Because the Vikings have this reputation as being horrible, but to the Rus, the original tribe that Russia is named after, they were tradesmen who brought goods to their poor little part of the world, but brought all these exotic goods from Northern Europe and from the Mediterranean on their trades, and they would stop at Russia and trade them for the wools and the meats and everything, and the farm produce that the Rus had that they couldn't produce in the north. So the Russian way of saying goodbye literally means be like a Swede. In other words, be like a Viking. Leave and come back and make our meeting happy again.
Because what Anthony's talking about, because I remember going back to, okay, I know it's a bit of a history lesson, but I mean, it's transport for that people. It's transport, okay? Trains were still not thought of back then, but they were coming. You did have the camel train, so we did have trains of some form. But with what Anthony's talking about, the trading and the way the Vikings used to take the routes, I remember in Mum's region, there used to be what they call the Inland Sea. And a lot of that area was underwater. And it only started subsiding, the water level, they say, it started subsiding roughly about the days of after the Romans in that area. The water level started dropping, but the Vikings and whatnot used to come in through there all the time to do the trade and use it as a neutral spot. There was no fighting going up in that area.
Yeah, I was reading Thomas's TikTok comment.
Yeah, so am I, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I believe that YouTube went to their shorts, because they want to compete. And actually, you know, making the shorts is real easy. It is. You can make so many of them, and I think it's a great way. I really, really do.
My problem is anytime somebody mentions TikTok, I think of a bunch of 15 and 16-year-old girls trying to look 21 twerking.
Well, yeah, and that too, Anthony. Yeah.
I know that's totally wrong, but that's...
Yeah. I'm just going to stick to you. I just stick to YouTube. That's it.
That was the number one issue. Kids on phones in the classroom are on TikTok watching their latest. Yeah. Hey, check out what this girl's doing.
Yeah.
But so that's the same over here. Like,
oh really? TikTok does. Oh really? TikTok does allow you to go live. Oh, I didn't know that, Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
See, over here, we've got to be careful of going to beaches during the summer times, because a lot of these young girls these days and the young ones are dressing up and making themselves out to be 21, 22, 23-year old, and they're only 14, 15. So a lot of us stay away from the beaches down in here between, say, November, into November till about February.
It's all a bunch of model wannabes trying
because
to be discovered.
yeah, but we want to go there.
One of my buddies told me to go to TikTok. Actually, I had a couple buddies told me to go to TikTok, but
they wanted to see it work. No, I'm sorry.
I mean, so far
YouTube
work. Yeah,
I'll be
so
back
far
in a couple of minutes, guys.
Yeah, that's fine. So far, YouTube's worked for me. So I mean, I just don't have really much time to do anything else, let alone just do this, because I run a full-blown business and I just do this for fun. I didn't think when I started in January, I'm gonna, my subscriber rate is where it is today. I had no idea, so, but I'm like Anthony, I'm not doing anything different to please them. It's just me. This is what I do, and that's it. I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing. And just because my subscriber rate hit a phenomenal goal, I'm not going to do anything different. I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just me. That's it. So
I have my comfortable little hidey hole here, and it's what I am. And people are free to unsubscribe, that's why the one, people talk about now and then, like, my friend Digger Evans, a lot of you know Digger Evans, nice guy. Yeah. He's a brilliant weatherer. He does brilliant work. He had somebody go on his channel and tell him, he got an email, tell him how he sucks. And, it's like, why do you feel the need to do that? Why do you feel the need? If you don't like a channel, just walk away from it, and
that was a joke.
That over and over.
That was a joke.
That was a joke.
You know who that person? You know who the person was?
No, I don't know, because Digger didn't know at the time because I was talking to him.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. I don't know if it was formally announced, and I'm just guessing. And I took it as a joke because if you've ever been on Boxcar Jerry Satarali's channel, when Digger's there, those two kind of hit it off. Like, they're great friends, but they banter each other all the time. So I thought it was a joke between Jerry and Digger. It may not be. If you're saying you talked to Digger and Digger didn't know, I thought when Digger read that, whatever he read from, to me it sounded like a comment that Jerry would make. So I know
they banter, but when Digger first mentioned it, to me, it was. He took it seriously at first, so I don't know. So that was
then I could be wrong.
He didn't know it was from Boxcar Jerry. Then I don't know how that happened or backed up. But
then it may not be.
Get them.
I'm just guessing. Yeah. Then I could be wrong. Don't take.
No. I mean, because Sean McGee's agreeing with you. So clearly, it was a joke. But at the time, or for a split second. Yeah, pulling his chain. There you go.
Gotcha.
But I mean, we've all had it. Nonetheless, we've all had that. Where I'm,
sure.
If you haven't gotten hate mail, it's coming.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of that. I know nothing of that. So
right. Well, that was just very recently. It's but
really?
If you haven't gotten hate mail, it comes eventually. Somebody. We'll send you the snide comment or.
Oh, I've already got them.
Yeah.
I've already got them. Mm-hmm. I've already got 3 emails.
Only 3.
I got a really cool comment that somebody.
I get 3 a week, but
no.
And it was and it was a real genuine comment. Like
I'm sorry, Rick. I didn't hear a word you said. What did you say?
I got a nasty comment on one of my videos because someone didn't like the fact that they didn't get a mug.
Oh.
And it was a genuine like screw you comment. And I responded back with laughter. I mean, what else can you do?
Yeah, well, I got an email. No, I got an email from YouTube on my giveaway that my channel was looked into because someone complained that I wasn't fair. And they responded to me that we looked at your channel and we watched the video and everything was within YouTube's agreement on giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was months ago.
No, I've had people complain that I no longer do the in-depth American shows. I've had people complain that they've asked me to show them how to do sections on your layout. You know, show you how to do. I forget what's the term. My brain's it's bedtime.
Tutorials.
You know, pardon? When you have different sections, section detection, you know, block detection. That's the term I'm looking for, block detection. And they wanted me to show them how to do block detection, which I do know how to do in the American way, but I don't do it and I don't want it. But they're like, well, do it anyhow. Like they want me to go out and spend quite a bit of money on track and wiring and all the other things you got to do, and then set it up on my Central Station 3, even though I don't want. And I told them no. And you get nasty emails. Well, you know, but I've had other people just complain because I don't do any of the Maryland shows anymore. But it's kind of like, you know, I hit a point where I explain. My thing was to explain Maryland to people who don't know Maryland. And, you know, I just got an email, a good email yesterday from a gentleman that watched my Facebook channel and then came to YouTube, and he started asking me questions about stuff from 1982 Maryland. And I'm like, I send them to other people. I at least now have resources where I can send them to somebody else and say, this person can answer your question. But, you know, I have to say, I don't know. But you do get that. And then my favorite emails are the ones that whenever I put up a parody video where I sing, and I get it all the time, like, who told you could sing? And it's like, you know, I specifically say on the video, I'm singing, plug your ears. You know, I'm fully aware how bad my voice is, but somebody feels the need to write, oh my God, who told you could sing? Your singing's awful. Didn't you read the part where it says awful singing follows? You know, but you get that. And then you get, you know, you just get random complaints about what you're doing or why don't you do this and blah, blah, blah. We all get it, but you either cater to it or you just laugh it off and you do your thing. But like I said, going back to the point a while ago, we're talking about some of these guys that burn out because they kind of lose sight of why they went on YouTube.
Hey, Sean Pacific Railroad. Good evening. Yeah.
That guy on the bottom of your screen there with below Rick. I mean, below Anthony, he's the one that pretty much got me into YouTube. So if there's anyone that's going to blame anyone, blame him. Mm-hmm. But I've enjoyed it.
There is a good question. That's one. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I was trying to pop that up. What happened to COPPA is when it came out, like a lot of announcements, when somebody changes policies, you get a lot of people that overreact and start burning the, you know, scorched earth policy and burning the house down. We had to be compliant. Okay. It's not something YouTube or anybody else wanted to do, but YouTube has, you know, the first thing YouTube's going to protect is YouTube. And, you know, we could spend a whole show talking about copyright claims and copyright strikes. Like for me, that's a big issue when I do a parody video. But again, with COPPA, the biggest thing for COPPA, it did affect a few channels where if you did mark that your channel was drawing kids or YouTube declared your channel was for kids, like there was a channel, he had 1 million subscribers, Lego Man or something like that. And I'm not meaning Lego Man Biff, who's a train guy, but he was like Lego Man. And he had 1 million subscribers, but YouTube declared he was for kids and made his channel. But YouTube finally made it for kids, which meant no advertising, no tracking. And so his revenue was cut by 70%. But then as YouTube adjusted, they realized, okay, we have to adjust this. Yes, there are adults. And so now everybody has this. Like Nancy was having these problems where, you know, she doesn't necessarily go through and mark her channel. You know, you go into your channel settings and mark it not for kids.
Right.
But then there are friends who have kids in their videos, even though you list it as not for kids, and YouTube looks at that. Well, if you're not monetized, it's not a big deal. But if you are monetized, right. So there are guys like Sam's Train who has 130,000 subscribers on YouTube, where he makes that's his money. He makes his money. He had to change a little bit of it. He just took out some of his kid stuff. But again, YouTube adjusted, we adjusted, and what a surprise. The world didn't end. YouTube didn't become a horrible place. The videos are still pretty much the videos, and we still do our thing. And you can cuss all you want as long as you're marking. You know, there are people that, like, you can't cuss on this channel. If you're marked for adult content, in other words, if you change your settings from not for kids and go in even further and say restricted over 18, you can drop the F-bomb every other word if you want. It does affect your advertising a bit, but YouTube is not out there looking at how much you cuss. But if you are monetized and you're listed as 13 and over, they are going to see how much do you cuss in your video. But I cuss a bit in my live streams, and I've never gotten a thing from YouTube. The only notices I get is somebody complained, like, you know, this is about toys and you're cussing, and YouTube says it's marked as for adults.
Hey, Kyle. But see, this is the thing. This is where I put the warning on my descriptions and everything else.
Yeah.
Here. I have to do that. I mean, YouTube is an American platform. Hey, Kyle. How you doing? It's an American platform. It's a global platform. But it's based out of, it originated from the United States. So I must put a warning down. And also, to meet the Australian standard, and I've got the warnings up there. MA 15 plus. And the reason I do that is because some of the words, the common words we use here in Australia, like bugger and damn and everything else like that, is considered a curse word in many parts of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And some of the words that we do use.
Know that.
So the warning's there, so no one had, I mean, they'll probably turn around and complain, but they haven't got a leg to stand on because the warning's already been put in there in the content. If you guys look at my videos, I have that MA plus and the red label to start off with. This is what it is. It's not for children.
Yeah, well, you in the UK, you in Australia had a bit of it, and the UK had one. Acura Scale, a British model company, released a series of vehicles, and it's a type of vehicle with a type of freight car with, and it was called, and I'll spell it out because if I say it, it will get caught in the algorithm. But it's called the FAG car. But it has nothing to do with gay, but because YouTube is an American site, it doesn't understand that the word FAG has a totally different UK meaning, that it actually means cigarette. But it got flagged. It got flagged. And anybody who said, hey, I just got my new trains or my new cars, YouTube was blocking the videos for a bit. And then the UK people started hammering it, and it did eventually sort itself out. But that's the problem. YouTube does have an American bias with language and interpretations.
Yeah, but see, we got some grain cars that came out of China, and it's the real scale ones. The markings on the side, I think they were N as the first letter. Yeah, it was N, but it had NGAY on it. Now,
and the way the Australian accent works, yep.
Yeah, but we would have played around with the G, A, and Y, and a lot of us are in the modelers. we renamed the carriage, but I can't mention that here because I know it's going to be, yeah. But oh no, yeah,
Are we reading that?
Sheen Pacific.
Oh, where'd it go?
Well, crazy with two questions. Yeah, so yeah, what I mean, really, I mean, I've had to follow because I'm based in Australia. I have to a certain degree follow the Australian standard, even though it's only a social platform, but it's still a video content. I'm still televising under the rules and regulations here. I must declare the MA 15 plus. Particularly if the words are going to be considered as cursing words, which may happen, particularly in the United States, I have to put that on there.
The hell
Otherwise,
you
I can get in a lot of strife. And
Yeah, I was going to comment to Split Rock. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Split Rock. That's how I see my channel as well. You know, this is just for fun, and
yeah,
it's just for fun. And I've already done my due diligence. If you watch my 400 subscriber count, I mean, I had the big long ZZ Top beard going on, and I'm telling you, I said exactly that. If I can help just one person learn something for what I put out as content, I did my job in YouTube. I've already done that. I've already done that. But what I have found is a really great community of people, and I'm here to stay.
Sometimes
I'm the same way. If I can teach someone something new, Rick taught me something new with the mini panels. You did, yeah, with the mini panels.
Yeah.
Right, because that's how it all started.
Rick's trying to think. Wait, what all did I teach him?
What I do?
Artie, you weren't supposed to talk about that.
If I taught him something, I did it wrong.
And that too, well, it wasn't so much wrong, but you just don't do things awkward. But I can see where you come from, so everything's awkward over there.
And happy belated birthday to you, James.
Yeah, happy birthday. So where's that cake, James? I want to eat cake.
Whoop, whoop.
Got impounded at customs.
Impounded customs, yeah.
And see, my goal,
Got that right, Thomas.
is to make one person laugh or smile.
Well, that's what I mean. If I get one person laughing and happy and smiling, my job's done. If I have a group of people happy and laughing and carrying on, it's like it's bonus. Yeah, I've got a lot of work to do. I know. And nothing worse than
one person besides yourself.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it makes it harder when some people take you on an outing and have you kidnapped into another country. Leave me on the pole. Jeez.
Listen.
But Artie, you said you had a stick around. I'm sorry, what?
You've been around, man. You've been.
I'm getting a couple places getting around, isn't it?
Now you've been in Baltimore, and now I heard you're in Canada, and I'm not quite sure how you got there.
You've been in Baltimore, Strasbourg. Pretty soon you'll be in Cleveland Heights, and people really start to recognize you.
He's been around more than I've been around. Shoot, you've been on 5 live streams, or five different channels just this last week. You were on Tom's channel, you were on Heath's channel, you were on Dakman's channel, Mini Prince's channel. I mean, geez, you make it around YouTube like a whore on a corner.
You know, that might get bleeped, but it's probably accurate.
Yeah, well, that's what.
Wait, how did you find out you were on your way to Canada? Because I didn't even know that until the next day.
Yeah, I'll get around there more then. Yeah.
Oh no, lots of Ben
Someone let the cat out the bag. The
There wasn't many
person
people
that
who knew
kidnapped
it.
me let the cat out the bag.
Nice.
Plumber turned around and said that I went missing. That's all I know. Plumber said to me that I went missing.
That's true. That's true.
And you meant to look after me.
Yeah.
So you put me in the back.
Well, you know what's funny?
Back of a.
Split Rock, what we're learning is that Artie is the real person behind the stories of Rita.
You were we were outside Ray's backyard, and we were having dinner, and you were getting passed around the table, and then Ray finally said, "Hey, everybody, let's go downstairs. We'll play with trains." And I can't remember who had you last, but they left you at the table with all the leftovers. And the funny thing is, I went to go find you, and I finally found you at the table, but the leftovers were gone. And then by the time I actually brought you back downstairs so that we could say hi, that's when Heath's live stream went off. So I couldn't say hi to you on the live stream, or have you say hi on the live stream. And then by the end of the night, I went to go find you to take you home, and then everybody was saying, I don't know, already left, and we couldn't find you. And I was like, well, I got to get my kid to bed. So I had to leave. And the last thing I knew, I left you in Baltimore.
Yeah. Well,
now that was your second trip to Baltimore.
Yeah. Then I
heard the next day that you were on your way to Canada.
Hopefully, I rode shotgun this time and not in the back of the pickup truck with all the junk.
I can't guarantee that one. For all I know, you were flapping out the window like this.
No, the worst thing is it blew out of somebody's hand and went to the front windshield of the next person with Artie's face staring in. And somebody's just right on. Honey, could you hit the rest stop at the next 2 miles up the road? Sure, honey. Artie
was like that big on Geico commercial with his head out the window going, wee!
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back.
They go off the road. Artie's caused an accident, a 7-car pileup on a Canadian highway. It's on CBC News. It's on Canadian News that night. Police are looking for this man.
I can see me not going into Canada now as well.
3 years from now, you visit America and you try to go into Canada like, that's the mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Interpol. I'm going to be on the Interpol's most wanted list soon. Thanks, Greg. You're a good mate.
I tried, bud.
Yeah, I know. Look, initially, when the shit hit the fan earlier in the year, yeah.
John Ricard, if your nose got any browner,
when the shit hit the fan in April this year, and I wanted to get over there. G'day, 187. I couldn't come up with any way of getting on top of. I had to beat the system, and that was the only way I was able to beat the system of having my face shown in US. And thanks to me partner in crime, which I'm not going to mention any names, helped me achieve that. But he will be rewarded very well one day soon.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. But it's all a lot of fun. I mean, I really like
I'm
it.
having a
It's
ball with it.
yeah, it's all a lot of fun. I mean,
I'm
everyone's having
just
fun.
I was sad that I couldn't take you over to the Baltimore Train Museum. We'd have had a ball
Well,
there too.
you got my other backup there with you, haven't you?
No, he's coming soon now.
Hi,
He's
James.
coming.
Again.
Yeah. No.
But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what though, Artie. When you do make it over here, you can go to Stroudsburg, but definitely go to the B&O Railroad Museum. That place was amazing.
That is a place I want
there
to
was
go.
so much. Yeah, there is so much to see there. And there's more at the B&O Railroad that you can interact with and go into, and there's more information than there is at Strasbourg. Strasbourg is a great museum, but it's all railroad track, and it's all like walk around and look at what we have kind of place. Whereas the B&O Railroad, they've got things set up where you can go in a box car. They explain what the box car was. They've got more videos around. They've got TVs in box cars explaining what this box car was, how it was made, things like that. Same with the car shop that they have. They've got different items in, and they explain them, and you can go inside some of the steam locomotives, and it was a great time. It was a great time. We literally spent 7 hours there, at least, just getting through the place. And only an hour of it was sitting down eating lunch. The rest of it was literally walking around and just looking and reading everything. It was great. It was great.
That's like this. That's like the Filmy Rail Museum up the road here. You can actually go into a lot of the carriages. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that prison van that was in Goulburn.
Yes.
Getting restored.
Yeah.
Now, don't know if you remember me saying I actually done a model of one of them, an actual scale size model, both interior and exterior. And the one at Filmy Museum, you can actually go inside, and it still had all the bars and everything's still inside it. Okay, you had to climb up to it then, but now they've actually made platforms inside there where you can actually go on one side of the trains and go into it. They also got the Garrett. They've got the oldest surviving steam locomotive for this state in that museum. And the government actually thrown a lot of money into that museum. But I'd love to go out and see the museum at Bolton. It's a shame you didn't take me there, but at least I know one thing. If I ever go down to Strasbourg, the museum down there, they say, "Oh, we remember you."
No, I just want to quickly answer Jean Ricard's bit about you, Artie. If I had Artie on my live feed along with Joyce, then we'd just have 3 boobs on my live stream.
Harsh word.
What did I miss out on there? It's all right. You didn't miss out on too much, but yeah, they're 180. They're 187. You're still about. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, this is what we're all about: having good laugh and fun and whatnot. And if anyone takes offense to it, if I remember, I'll put a phone number in the description to ring up and complain to those people about my content. Okay? Whether you're going to get someone that's related to me is another question. But anyway. Right. Yeah, so I'm going to try to get up top. We're going to be getting some more of that wet stuff falling from the skies here again. We on flood alert again. On a bit of a serious note, my thoughts and prayers are going out to a lot of people down in the south, in Victoria and Melbourne, because they are really getting pounded and flooded. A lot of towns are really underwater. Well, I have not seen anything like this since the late 80s. A couple of my followers, I have not. A couple of my followers that usually regularly comment and whatnot, I have not seen them comment on anything all week. So it's getting quite concerning. I hope they are well. I hope they do reach out very soon.
Okay. I heard from Creepy yesterday, so
Creepy's up. Creepy's not far from me. He's still
okay.
he's fine.
North. Okay, I thought you were saying Creepy was down. But
No. Creepy's just up the road from me. He's not too bad, but he's up on the highlands. He won't. If he floods, that's a lot of water coming down my way. So I would definitely need a submarine or a battleship or something like. Yeah,
very frightening.
It would scare the children off, that's for sure.
Hey, look, I got ready for Halloween, and the kids next door to me or two doors up got that frightened that it's Halloween that their parents have actually packed up and moved house, literally. So I've got no kids to scare this year, apart from the high school kids. Yeah, but really serious, I hope they are well. I was going to go down to Melbourne to do a Halloween show down there next weekend. But because of the risk of being stuck and stranded and the amount of rain we're getting down that way, I'm not going to go. It's going to be postponed until a bit later on down the year. I should get. Maybe. I'm not that much of a comedian, honestly. I'm not that much of a comedian. I
look funny to me.
Pull up pranks and I do like pulling up pranks and stirring up trouble and whatnot in a funny way, of course, but nothing too serious. So if I pull a prank on you, it's only don't take nothing too seriously with it, okay? It's all in good fun, okay?
If I could for a minute, I don't understand honestly why Steve Childers is not up there. That guy is amazing. The work he does.
Yeah, I don't know why
he's pumping out like
after all this.
I don't get it. I don't know why YouTube's not picking up on the algorithm. It doesn't. He should be pushed out a lot more. He does a live stream more than me. He should be putting out 2 videos a week. The only thing that I can think of is
not
his I mean, hey, look at me. I'm not that much to look at, but I think if he were to pick up on his thumbnails, his titles, and maybe the tags and the description of his video, if he were to alter them, he would do so much better. We actually had in our STS group, we talk about different things like this. A lot of times when it comes up, and we all try to adjust and try and make ourselves better, and we try different things out. And like if something comes up and somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, Rick, hey, your intro could be 10 seconds shorter, you're probably losing a lot of people," I'll try it. I cut the intro, and sure enough, it picks up a little bit. We had conversations with Heath about doing other stuff, and we were talking about the banner on our pages and changing that and the information that's included in that, and we all just go back and forth and we try different things. And it's funny how you start to see the pickup of views and viewers, and if you pay attention to the algorithm or your analytics, you start to see those changes. And I think if Steve started doing some of those changes, he would do really well. But honestly, he should be there by now. And I think I had that conversation with him a while ago, and he'll tell you, I'm only here for the fun. I don't care. I don't mind. But You want to reach, you always want to reach a bigger audience, no matter if you're trying to get to subs or not. I understand that you're here for fun, but the more people that you meet and the more people you interact with is what's going to make it more entertaining, and it's going to make it more of an engaging experience. So even though you're not here for numbers, you do want to grow your audience so that you can reach a certain value of followers. And I think Steve should be there by now. All my love to Steve. I love his channel. I love the guy. He's a good friend of mine. I sent him a cup, sent him a mug. He's got a lot of knowledge and love his channel. I just wish we could give him the recognition that he well deserves.
Well, Rick, after hearing your success with DJ's channel, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to start sending mugs to DJ.
Just don't get the
again. Not my
ones.
Intention.
Just
not my intention.
Ones.
As a matter of fact, I wasn't the one who picked DJ. DJ was recommended to me, and I listen. I just followed path.
Really? How interesting.
Yeah. I when I put the video out there.
You want me to come over and swap mugs with you, Anthony?
Just don't get one of the faulty ones. Hang on a second. I'm gonna try something here. Where's my hammer?
I
want to see if I can fix this. Hang on.
I only had one.
Hey, it worked.
I only had
to do my own modification.
Hey, there you go.
But now it worked. I fixed it.
Go.
Now scan.
Go.
Scan that code on the back.
I had to custom build. I had to scratch build a little bit out of it. I had to kit bash, but I fixed it. So you're off the hook, Rick.
There you go.
But I just can't work it out because like this morning when I got onto the computer and just checked on some emails and a few other things to see what video contents were up to some new things, I was on 258, 259. Then when I went to refresh it, it went back to 140, 200, what is it, 243 subs. So.
Well, Artie, I can tell you where you started gaining subs in your stop videos, your stop, whatever you call that. When you started doing those stop videos, that's when your channel started taking off. And remember, I told you, you got to go with what works with your channel. And I realized that there's a lot of things going on, but that's where your channel has grown.
Yeah, I've got to get up and update. The other big problem is that I have had is the main computer that I do my animation on has been acting up. And I'm still using Windows 7 on it. I don't know what's going on with it, but it's really, really acting up pretty badly now. And I've got to learn on Windows 10 on how I can do that here. If I can achieve it on here, I've got some that are ready to go. I don't do it anymore, Thomas, to be honest.
They're free to do what they
I'm
want
not
to
sure
do.
what that comment means.
Okay.
Monorail rate channels where you have like a Patreon or where they have a members only where they'll post additional videos just for members. And so,
right.
A lot of people do it.
Yeah, a lot of people do it.
Do it. If you want to put the work in and have members only video, and it gets a few people to join and you get a couple extra quarters in your pocket, I don't care. I laugh when people start complaining about somebody having donations or having whatever set up to make a little money on it. You don't have to give anybody money. Now, there are a couple of channels where the person consistently nags you to give them money, and I might find that a little put offish. But if it's there, It's there on mine, but when people give me money, I like try to give it back. Like, no, don't. It's just there as part of being monetized. I don't want money. I've got enough money to buy my trains. I am monetized because I hit a point where YouTube said, hey, you can monetize. So if every 6 months I get $100 check, what the hell? Why not? They're going to put commercials on my damn.
My only.
But if they want to make an extra dime or two, I'm a capitalist. Let them go for it. You don't
already put Split Rock's latest comment up.
So just to tack on to Anthony's, my only issue with that is I agree with, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. That's great. But once you start pushing on it, you've turned your attention away from the hobby and you've made it your job. And once you're doing it for the job, it's no longer fun. And that's just my opinion.
Totally agree with what we said. Turn around and said. But as soon as you turn around and turn your hobby into a job, it's killed your interest. It's killed your fun.
Yeah. Now I know a couple of channels where you get early access. If you're a member and pay $2, $3, whatever a month, you don't get extra videos, but you get early access to a video that won't go out to the main public for a week later. Now, is that worth it? $3 to you? Yeah, but again, if that's what you're going to do and you're going to make that your job, again, fine. But if you're just going to put it up there and then give the same content to the regular people anyhow, I can wait a week.
Exactly. And exactly what, as Split Rock said, I feel the same way. I really do. I mean, my channel's reached a point where I can actually do that, but I refuse to do that because I've already created a monster. So I just want to give the free content out, and for me, giving like a $10 or $20 super chat, besides, that's way better than getting a $2 or $3 a month salary from that one person and having to work harder at it. So I will do that on a lot of people's channel if I really like what I saw, because I know what it's like to have to put out videos. So there's a lot of work that goes into some of these videos, and I appreciate the content that person puts out. To show my appreciation, I'll give them a 10 or 20 or even a thanks. That's way better than I think getting a subscription. To me, that is.
And to kind of piggyback on what you and Thomas were saying, there's this type of channel. And again, I'm not naming names. I'm not trying to rip on anybody because, again, it's a free market. I'm all in favor of doing what you want to do. But there are channels where they'll ask for money and they'll tell you, I can't do these videos without your help. And And I'm sort of like, you've been doing those videos for years without anybody's help.
Yes.
Now again, and you've got some people where they have multiple tens of thousands of subscribers and they make a pretty penny off of YouTube ads, and they're buying a new loco 2 or 3, and they're buying the loco with the money they're making. And if that's their job, that's their job. And like with me, I'm not asking people for money, but YouTube puts ads on my videos anyhow. If I can get a percentage of it back, I'll take a percentage of it. If it's $100 every 6 months, what the hell? $100. But I don't ask people for money because I put tons of hours into even my stupid parody video songs. And I say stupid disingenuously because I think they're freaking funny. And we put 3 up this week. I put 3 up this week, but I put hours and hours and hours of work into those, but I don't think of it as work because I like to do that, and I've always done that crap anyhow. But there are hours of work behind it, but I choose to do that.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody makes me do that. I choose to do that.
That's right. And I agree with Nancy because I do the same thing. But I do exactly the same thing. If it's coming up in their videos and they're doing via cash or Patreon via cash and stuff like that, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's not. It didn't become. It's not a free hobby anymore for that person. They're only doing it for the almighty buck, the almighty dollar.
And I'm sure we can all think of specific channels where, and again, I distinguish between where it's an option there and they just leave it there blindly on their channel versus where every day, at least 2 or 3 times in their video, they're like, there's a channel. And if I got too specific, I think people would immediately recognize it. And I like the channel, but the person will always talk about, like, well, last week I only got so much in super chats. And it's like, people are giving you free money.
You already gave it away.
Stop complaining that your super chats last week were low and that you need more in super chat. Those are the channels that, as time goes by, I would start pulling away from.
But it's not just the railroad community.
Right, it's everywhere.
It's everybody. It's not just the railroad community.
Oh,
Trust
yeah,
me.
it's everyone.
It's everybody.
All right, I have to take I don't have to. I am choosing to take my grandson to the zoo early tomorrow morning because it's going to be a beautiful day here. And my daughter invited us all to go to the zoo. So I need to log off and go to bed.
Okay, Anthony, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Anthony.
It was nice knowing you, mate. I'll get my friends and whatnot to drop you off some bags of peanuts on the visit, and we'll see you live broadcasting there next week, I gather, from there.
We'll see. Same bat time, same bat channel. Or is that bad time and bad channel?
Well, I don't know what the bats are, but yeah, if you want to do that way, yeah, no problem. Okay. Thank you very much, Anthony.
All right. Take care, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Anthony.
Good night, Anthony. Yeah. So
why am I always stuck on the bottom?
Guys.
I hate being on the bottom. Just kidding.
There's my Swiss bank account details. So if you throw the money out into my bank account, I'll be happy. I'll put it in just cause. Look, I was hearing sorry about coming off before. I just having a lot of banging going on outside, so I had to go and check out on that. Oh no, Bernard. Okay, we can go now. How you going, Bernard? I put out my content out on Goodwill. I mean, I do jack around a little bit with money, and when I do turn around, so I'm going to rob a bank account, rob a bank. I'm not actually robbing a bank. I'm just robbing my bank account. It's just a funny way of saying it. Jeez. Because I don't condone. It's something I do not condone. Do things, Lee.
I want to address Split Rock for a minute because I have a theory on this, and you can't see me because the banner's up here. So it seems to be like a round robin thing. You go through a series of videos, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the same series of videos come back up by different creators. And what's happening is we're all going through. I'm taking this down because I don't feel like stretching. We're all going through this phase of building model railroads. When I started my YouTube channel, I was already halfway through all the basic stuff. So you didn't see any videos of me building tracks, soldering, laying cork, all that jazz. I don't have any of those videos, but I learned it from the people who were making those videos. And the problem is, if I had those videos on my channel, they would have been months and months and months back, and the new people would have never saw them unless they were specifically searching for it. So the fact that others are coming up and saying, these are the basics and this is what you need, this is what the newcomers need. Now, to that effect, for the older modelers, and not saying age, just saying experienced modelers.
So what you're saying,
we need
Rich,
to see that?
What you're saying, Rich? You're going to teach an old dog new tricks?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily teach
kidding.
an old dog.
I'm just kidding, Rick.
No, but that's a good point. That's a good point, because everything that when I start rebuilding this thing, when we get to it, I'm going to try and do every step that I do, and I'm going to try and do my best to make a video and put it out there. Have you seen it all before? Probably. Have you seen it from different modelers 3-4 times over? Probably. Am I going to do something different? Maybe, but maybe not. But the point is, when my video comes out, you're going to see my methods, my struggles, my opinions, all that. It's not geared towards what I'm doing, but more or less how I'm dealing with what I'm doing. Because Artie might lay track different than I do. Daryl might put down ballast differently than I do. Are we all doing the same thing? Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I do.
Artie might curse a little more when he's doing it. and Daryl might drink more Cokes when he's doing it. It's not that we're all trying to do the same thing. It's we're all trying to show you how we all do it and how we do it.
That's right, Rick.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to watch. I mean,
also it comes down to, can you understand what that person is saying? Are you speaking their language? Right?
Or understanding their accent.
When it came down to the issue with the mini panels, there were tutorials out there for the NCE mini panels, and it was really hard to understand what the person was explaining on how to do it. And this is what I came across Rick last year. The way he explained it, I understood it, even though I watched it that many times over and over again to have it sink in my head. I now understand how it works. Right? Yeah, that is true too. Some people even skip the steps. My biggest issue has been recently is trying to work with the signaling system for NCE. Now, there are a lot of signaling systems that work with Digitracks and integrating with Digitracks, but there's nothing really out there for NCE. And with the lighted ones, yes, Thomas has one, but I don't know. I've done something wrong, and it's not working for me. Right? I know that the light will work off the mini panel. Now, I reached out to the dealer to come out and show me how to do it, and a few others, but they gave me a rough diagram on how to do it, but it's the programming side of it where I got lost. And that's why I got extra wiring underneath my layout. And I had to rip a quarter of a third of it out. Now I've got to rip out another 2/3. But I'm going back onto the system that I know and the simple basic principles. But yeah, we all get. It all comes down to the understanding the person that is explaining what is being put out there. Daryl will explain it one way. As we just said, we do things. All three of us will do something differently, but we explain it differently. We might do the same, but we explain it. We explain it a lot different in a different language.
So, Thomas, just going back to this comment for a minute, I completely agree that there is no best way. There is no better way that you can do one thing from another. But you have to remember the words that are being used, that's a part of the gimmick to get you to watch. That's all. That's all advertising. That's all advertising. Because the second somebody puts this is the best in a title, what's going to happen? People are going to start clicking. That's all. That's all it is. There is no better way. There is no best way. It's whatever way works for you. But if somebody puts those words along with other advertising words in a thumbnail or on a title, it's going to cause more clicks. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Don't fall into the hype.
Yeah, and that's the thing that words, when words are put in a certain context, and this is the way even Anthony was speaking with Anthony, but even with the emergency services and through the courts and everything else that I've been through, it's a game of words. What words you use is what will attract certain people. How the people interpret it, the way it's been said. You know, you have a look at these court cases. They're won and lost in the way the words are being put together and presented. Clickbait, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all it is. It's a game of words. So yeah. Yeah, sorry, I got into GI. All right. Yeah. So we've gone through a lot of topics at the moment. Yeah, all I've got to do now is people put money in my Swiss bank account so I can finish off my layout.
Oh, see, there he goes. Ask him for that donation. All right, everybody leave.
And for those that do want to put money into that, don't. It's only a joke. I'm not going to ask any money from anybody. I mean, I do it out of my own good heart, and I'll only do it as I can afford it. And the video content I put up is, like train drivers in town. Yeah. So it's like, I just do it for the fun of it. I'll share what I'm doing. I am going to do a little bit of a diary. It's not a how-to, but I'm just showing how my layout is growing. I mean, there is so much content out there now. Got to put the dog out. Okay, see. That's not a nice thing to say about your mistress. I said mistress.
Hey, you're all right. You're all right.
Yeah, I said mistress. I didn't say anything else. Don't get me into more trouble, Rick.
Whatever. All right. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right, it's going up to 3 hours. So, if anybody else got any comments or anything else they want to say or mess around with?
I got something I want to say. I like trains.
You poor bastard.
We know, Daryl. We know.
Tell me that train that you got running at high speed, they're highballing. Is that making up time for the hold-ups that the other train has done or not?
No, I just decided to be a little kid and run my trains fast.
Yeah.
I was just reliving my first days of.
I love those containers.
Just having a good time.
Yeah, I just cannot wait to. All I'm going to do on this one here now, just basically I'm not going to do really any scenery on here on the top deck. I'm just going to get the tracks laid, get it going, and then work on the section that's supposed to be behind me.
You've come to the right meeting, John.
Yeah, boy, does that bring back memories. Long time ago.
Yeah. But as I kept saying to my past partners and whatnot, I go, look, you know where I am. If I'm not in my back room, I'll be in a hobby shop.
Thank you, 187th. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And you're gonna have an inheritance after I pass on.
You know.
So,
Yeah.
I still run. Seeing Pacific, I still running some of my trains fast. You know, I was thinking about it after seeing the video of when the boys were over at Ray's place. I need to do this on DC because I've got some old DC stuff and they do run fast. So I've got to get that done. Everyone likes a fast train. Everyone likes a fast train. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you again, Daryl and Rick. If you just want to hang around, I'm going to sign off for now. Hopefully, all the viewers had a great time. Enjoyed the show, and I know we talked about a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of crappy stuff, and made jokes about each other and everything else. So I will be on here. Well, I will try to be here for next week, since a Halloween weekend. I'll try to make it here if I haven't been arrested, because kids will be going out and what do you call it? Yeah, knocking on doors for candy.
Not here, man. I turn off the lights and turn on the sprinklers.
That's a good idea.
No, look.
They stopped the house stuff around here a long time ago.
I know I overdid it. I think I overdid it last year because I didn't just spook the kids, I spooked the parents as well. And you ever seen the cartoons when the cartoon characters are actually running in midair with their legs going 100 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what the kids and the parents are doing on a front doorstep after I answer the door.
Now, the thing about it is with me with Halloween is there's really not much Halloween going on here, especially in my neighborhood. And besides, when I buy the bag of candies, I usually eat them before they even given out. So I just stopped.
When the kids come and knocking on my door for candy, they go trick or treating and go, well, beg for it. You want the candy? You got to beg for it. The best beggar gets the most candy. Okay, Bernard. Hopefully you're doing all well too, because I don't know if anybody was aware that Bernard had a fall. His skyhook didn't work too good on his safety harness and came down off a ladder, I believe. That's why I haven't seen him too much. So hopefully you're doing all right there, Bernard. And yeah, everybody stay safe, and all those from down south that usually watch the stream, hopefully you guys are doing well and touch base with me, and we'll talk to you guys through the week and next weekend. So
good night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Bye for now.
Good night.